Ollie, you're first. You did it. You were right on the money. Hello, hello. Välkommen, välkommen. Oops. Pop out chat. Pop out chat. Pop out the chat. Booty pop that chat. Yo. What's good in the hood? Fam jam. Another day. Another spooky story. Am I German? Oh, wouldn't you want to know? I'm not, though. You're going to listen while riding your bike? Whoa, that sounds kind of cool. I wish I could stream while riding a bike. That would be pretty fun. It's like, oh, what if I just got on a stationary bike and streamed? I wonder if any IRL streamers do that. Or like, you know, like on Twitch, it's like just chatting. Just biking. Celeste Diaz, you joined the Discord. Well, welcome, welcome. I hope many more people join that Discord. We need all the friends we can get. We're all so lonely. Oh my god. Weston, what is good? Deadleaf Clover Gothic is here. What's up, guys? Morella Klein, my son and I love listening to you to and from school. Hell yeah. You have quite a commute on that ride with the old son, the young son, I guess. I used to always enjoy those rides with my mom when I was younger. Just really doing anything with my mom was just pleasant. It was a pleasant experience. It was like she was never mad at me really about really anything. And if it was like I deserve it, I guess. Lady Cop, what could you possibly be referring to, Spud? But I'm doing great. I remember one time my mom got like some sort of bonus on her paycheck. And it was a Friday night, and I just remember like we went to the grocery store, and like I just for some reason started asking for stuff. And she just, you know, normally she wouldn't like just buy me anything or whatever, but like that particular Friday she was buying me all the sweets that I want. I remember there was like toys in the aisle, and the toy that I wanted was water balloons, and she bought me those, and just like random other things that just like made me the food I wanted. I don't know, it was just like a weird moment where my mother was very happy to treat me well. I mean, she always did. She always treated me well, but it was like this was a particular night. And I asked her, I was like, why are we getting all this stuff? And she said, well, I got a bonus at work, so I figured I'd treat you. And I was like, fuck yeah, work? Thanks, work. I don't know what you do or what happens there, but thank you. Lopez Cruz with the $2 says, call me baby mama. Uh-oh. Am I expecting a child here in 9 months? My voice must have snuck out there at night when I was not paying attention. Lils with the 2 says, hey Joel, I live 6 minutes from John Wayne's house. Oh, the cowboy? Or John Wayne Gacy? Thank you, Lils, and welcome. It's good to see everybody. Cheyenne Dory Bob. If it doesn't say full-grown pizza, that must mean it re-upped her. Oh, there it is. Cheyenne Dory Bob is a full-on new member. Thank you, Cheyenne Doorby. Welcome to the Buttersuck cult. You will be warmly welcome. Oh, at username password. Let's read submissions at gmail.com. At first I was like, wait, why are we talking about usernames or passwords? It's like, this is bad news. Oh, Cheyenne, awesome. Well, welcome. Welcome back. Very glad to have you. We're doing some subscriber stories tonight. And I'm pretty stoked. These are actually pretty good. Sometimes, and honestly, the last Reddit stories video, I think that was a Friday video. Today's Tuesday, yeah. The last Reddit ones, I think I streamed for that, and it was not. I think it was not the best stories ever. But these ones, I think, are going to be much better. So it's interesting to think that on like a big mainstream subreddit from Let's Not Meet would not have as good as stories as you guys send me on the subscriber stuff. So, and the cool thing is those who get the paranormal itch for the paranormal stories, once in a while, the subscriber stories will have those as well. So you can kind of like get a little titty taste. Tiddly taste is probably a better word, of paranormal stuff before we eventually hit up paranormal stories again here. Try to do that at least once a month. Emmy B with the 2 says, I ate a full pizza today by myself. Hey, there you go. Honestly, if you're not eating an entire pizza in one sitting by yourself, are you even eating pizza? I had conditioned myself to eat entire pizzas for so long from Pizza Hut that like whenever people like say, hey, you want some pizza? And it's like, you know, I start getting the sweats and I'm like, how do I tell them that I could eat that entire thing and that 2 slices just will not suffice? Christian Sudini with a 5 says, I love your videos so much. They're helping me get through my A-school classes. Oh, Jesus, A-school like AP stuff or like high-end school learning. Paranormy. Don't be such a paranormy. Go kiss your ghost. Always be sure to tip your ghost. Yeah, Pizza Hut is the shit. Lately I haven't really been able to eat entire pizzas solo. But I haven't like force-fed myself as much as I used to. But and also before, like I'll get like the cinnamon bun rolls or something that Pizza Hut has, and I'll literally eat that first because it's just so good. And then probably get about halfway through the normal pizza, and then just hate myself so much that I throw the whole thing out. I don't even want to experience the rest of it tomorrow because yuck. Domino's is better, you know. One time, after eating quite a few Pizza Hut pizzas, I had a Domino's at work. One time it was a deep dish Domino's, and the crust was mwah, chef's kiss. Blizz Bub with the 2 says, would you give a shout out to Peyton, her Skyrim character? Peyton, please go Fusro Da some dragons this instant, would you? I'm waiting for the next Skyrim. I know that The Witcher came out, but I briefly played The Witcher, and I hear people really like it. But for some reason, it was like too hard for me out the gate. It was like almost like a just under Dark Souls level of difficulty right out the gate, and I was not super stoked about that. I don't know if they have different difficulty levels. What is this over here? Emily with the $3 says, hey Joel, I'm from the UK, almost always miss the live streams. Grateful for insomnia tonight. Well, hey, Yeah, I guess the UK is a bit ahead here, so it's usually pretty late. I've always been curious how it would do streaming earlier in the day and see how many people we could get involved. Maybe I could try an earlier stream one weekend or something like that. Maybe this Saturday or something I can do a stream in the early afternoon to kind of catch people from the UK as they're heading to Betty Bye. But thank you so much, Emily, for the 3 buckaroonies. Appreciate that. Bribey A with the 2 says, any advice for starting a narration channel? Oh man, it is tough because that is a very saturated market right now on the realm of YouTube. You know, the best thing that helped me starting out was collaborating with other channels. So obviously, I mean, I would say that it'd be wise to sort of get as much of a category or catalog of videos out as you can. Make sure you're asking permission from the authors wherever you get those from to use them, unless you're getting them from like a wiki or something that already allows that. Blizba with the 2 says, thanks, she's our daughter. She fell to the floor. Oh no. We melted her. We melted her into a puddle. But yeah, with the new channel, it's get permission, be persistent. A channel that does creepy pastas. Adrian Guzman became a full-grown pizza. Thank you, Adrian. Welcome to the Buttersuck cult. But the channel, Mr. Creeps, I am in communication with him from time to time. Good guy, very good guy. Robin actually did an opening for his new channel. I believe that's going to go into some more like countdown stuff / like sort of documentary stuff. So I'm excited to see how that channel will do. But he actually posts videos every day, a creepypasta every day. The amount of time each of those videos are, they vary. They could be anywhere from 10 minutes to 20 to 30, depending on how long the creepypasta is. But it seems as if though YouTube does, to a large degree, will reward like very frequent consistency. So posting every day can be very difficult. I post Monday, Wednesday, Friday. I think that's worked well for me, but sometimes I am curious what it would be like if I posted every day. But I also feel like it would kind of cut into what people sort of expect from me as far as like a bit longer, multiple story narrations and stuff. How does one become a member? I gotta be honest with you. I think that there's a button near the donation thing that you can do that, but or there's a button that says join, I think, if that's something you'd like to do. Get all sorts of cool emojis, I do believe. But yeah, so consistent posting, getting permission so you don't get shit on by copyright stuff, because honestly, if you get, people think I'm too small for copyright to matter, but dude, someone's gonna fuck you over at some point. Like if an author, especially like authors like creepypasta authors who like take their stuff a little bit more seriously in the regards to like intellectual property, they will punish you for that. So don't end up with egg on your face looking like a fool. And because YouTube is sort of like having an algorithmic robot run your society, and when you run to them for help, they don't care. They would rather give your potential advertising revenue to Jimmy Kimmel or some bullshit like that. So why do I repeat my stories sometimes? So sometimes I will do compilation videos of the podcasts. So right around the time that the podcast comes out, which is like every 2 weeks, I will take the content from the channel and put that onto the podcast on Spotify, iTunes, and various other places. That's all linked down below. And but then once a month to kind of promote the podcast And because the longer, really, really long videos like that do really well, I'll kind of give myself a break, promote the podcast with like a compilation video, highlighting stories from previously, and that just sort of, gives me some time away, but also like those videos do really well, which when those videos do well, they bring in more subscribers, and it's just kind of a good system overall, win-win many ways. But so I apologize if some of them are repeats, but it's come to be kind of a thing on the channel. And I try to like bring up old stories, unless you're like binging through all the other ones and stuff like that. If you're a super fan, you may have caught pretty much everything, so nothing will surprise you in those. But yeah, I'm doing good tonight. But yes, I was also some advice. I would try to collaborate with as many channels as you can starting out, just to get your voice out there, just to get heard. Because really, at the end of the day, the best way to be noticed, YouTube's not going to like just promote your channel right out the gate. You're going to need advertising, and that advertising comes in the form of collabing. And if you have capital to spend, some channels might respond well to you paying them, for promotion. I mean that's what Audible does. That's what all those kind of things. But also, if your voice is good enough, you feel like your quality of content is good enough, I think a lot of channels are a lot more, happy to welcome you on board because they've gone through the same thing. So don't be afraid to network as much as you can. Don't try not to burn any bridges. Do not be a person who gets on Twitter and, bitches about someone like in particular, or like calls someone out or hates on people too much. Unless they did something really shitty, then it's like I understand. But like if someone didn't respond or collab with you, don't like call them out for being like, full of themselves, because it's like no one in this world really owes you anything per se, you know what I mean? So don't burn any bridges and all that kind of stuff in the realm of creepypasta and narration and all that. And also, because the market's pretty saturated, don't think that you have to do narration right at the gate. Really sit down and think of your brand, think of what you want to like put out there, and go for it. Mr. Hyper says best store narrated was Favor for a Favor. Yeah, that one was a great one. I need to do more of those. Oh, whoa, I didn't even notice. Dead Leaf Clover with the 25. Barcaroni says, I have to head out for a bit. If I fall asleep, have a super night. Thank you, Emily. It was good to see you. Hope you're doing well. Love you. And thank you so much for the big 25 buckaronis. Thank you. Holy cow. Cheyenne Dory Bob with the 5 says, sacrifice all the food to our butter lord. Just feed me. I need more. I'm starving. Yeah, that's been really exciting. I think the one thing I'm most excited here in 2020, besides the fact that the channel is actually starting to pick up some more steam again when it comes to viewership and all that kind of stuff, is I'm very stoked about the podcast, because that has been growing at a rate that was much faster than my YouTube channel originally, and the one cool thing about it is that there's nothing about podcasting that I can see. Like, it's sometimes on YouTube it feels like you're stepping on eggshells, if you know what I mean, when it comes to Mr. Gooley, I'll give you 5 shillings to feature my channel. 5 shillings, that's a lot of shillings, my dude. Honestly, if you have, Mr. Gooley, if you have, because what I've been doing to feature people, it's actually in my subscriber videos is where I promote people the most. So if you wanted to get, a creepypasta or a true scary story onto the channel at the end of one of the videos, I think that's what I've been doing for narration, because before I used to do collabs where it was like I would go back and forth between me and another narrator, but that seemed to upset people. So my thought is, why don't I do all my stories and then have someone feature story at the end, so that the super fans that are sticking around to the end are staying awake or haven't passed out yet, you know what I mean, can hear that voice, or at least subconsciously experience it, and then they'll be like, oh, who was that? Because I really think all it takes, if you want to subscribe to somebody, is to hear their voice like for one story. You might only need 10 seconds to be like, ooh, I like this guy, you know what I mean? So, Mr. Gooley, send me a story to let's read submissions@gmail.com, and make sure that the link or the thing that you share on there is pretty much downloadable by any party, so I can share it with my other email, where, because I have this weird thing where I log into my submissions email and then I have to like get permission, so just make sure that the permissions for it is like for everyone, and then I'll get you on the channel maybe tomorrow. That'd be pretty dope. Gothic Rose with the 2 Canadian maple syrup bucks says, really needed this stream tonight. Much love to you all. Thank you, Gothic. Hope you're doing well up in Canada. Lila, you made it. Gothic, yeah, you can send me something as well. Maybe, let's just get a full-on collaborative video going for this one tomorrow. Send her on through. But yeah, we're going to kick this bad boy up. We're actually at 250 people already, which is pretty solid for the first 20 minutes compared to what we've had in the past. So guys, thanks for being here. Click like button, click share if you haven't already. You know what I have not done? I have not shared this on Twitter yet. So let me please go ahead and do that. Thank you, Twitter, for all the amazing stuff you provide us with, all the pointless internet arguments and outrage. Of course, some other people always find memes on Twitter, some like funny videos. And I'm like, where the fuck do you find this? Twitter always shoves down the stupidest nonsense down my throat all the time. All right, so we're going to switch over to our reading tab and play some Iron Cthulhu Apocalypse. Really enjoy that mix, Liquid Drum and Bass mix number 119 from Sound Territory. Love it, love Liquid D&B. It's just like this awesome, like sort of like ethereal ambient, but it's got this like fast pace beat that goes along with it, the break beat, I guess, as they call it, which is pretty dope. Nikita Connell with the 2 Australian buckaroos with that cutesy fox. Thank you so much, my friend. Guys, let me know if the music is too quiet, too loud. I'm trying to set the mood here for you. We will switch up the energy a tad. This first one's going to be... Seems, this actually got 25 upvotes in my subreddit, which is pretty uncommon. I think the most that I normally get is like 10, so this story must have pleased many a reader that lurks around the subreddit. Just a reminder, the subreddit is reddit.com/r/letsreadofficial. You can go join that if you got a story you want to submit. Probably the highest chance of getting it submitted, or read, rather. But let's kick this off. Now I'm going to warn you, this will be tough for some of you to hear. I genuinely just gave myself goosebumps thinking about this encounter. This is the story of where my mother and I came ridiculously close to a brutal end. I'm going to choose to be less explicit in what was actually said. At this point, I was 15 and had just got done with the summer of being homeless and had moved into a shady little apartment with my aunt in the heart of York City, Pennsylvania. My mother was still with the man who had beaten me badly and had caused us to be homeless. This had... Whoops. Also, someone's going to have to keep track of mistakes tonight. My mother was still with the man who had beaten me badly and had caused us to be homeless. They had broken up, but that wouldn't last even 2 weeks. But anyway, my mother had actually come down to York City to spend the weekend with me because they were temporarily broken up, so she didn't need his permission. It was bike night on a Friday or Saturday night, and my mother and I both had love. Live in York. Oh, you live in York. Nice. It was bike night on a Friday or Saturday night, and my mother and I both have a love for Harleys. She'd had dated a lot of bikers over the years, so even I had an ample experience on a bike by that point. But we had walked from my aunt's apartment to where the bike night was being held to get out and have some fun. My mother and I get lots of attention from the rowdy bikers and the like, but we had no trouble overall and had a great time. For a moment, it had felt like old times with her, when I could have called her my closest friend. We probably began heading home a little after 10, and it was going to take close to a half an hour walk to get back to my aunt's place. York City wasn't very safe to walk during the day, much less at night. We avoided the streets with royal names like King and Queen. If you were on those roads at night, you were liable to get shot. But our precautions were not enough. We had made it maybe half a mile up the road from the event. If you look behind you, you could still see the lights and the tents, even lightly hear the music still going on. We were quietly talking when, from a dark alleyway, a man stepped out. He was maybe 5'8", thin but muscular, Hispanic and covered in tattoos, with a bandana on his head to tie it all together. "Look at you lovely ladies," he said as he steps out of the dark. I was a little buzzed, as was my mother, so despite I was a little buzzed, as was my mother, so despite all I'd been through, I had been mildly amused, probably because I found it funny he was hitting on my mother and I at the same time. But before either of us could respond, another 3 men came out of the alleyway, and when I turned around, there was another 2 men behind us. The leader who had originally stepped out pulled out a blade and took a step closer. "You know, I've never been with a mother and a daughter before." To which he smiled wickedly. I stiffened as he stood inches in front of me and took the hand without the blade and stroked my hair, then roughly grabbed a fistful of it and bent my head back as he licked up my neck. "This is what you two are, isn't it?" My mother remained silent, as did I. I could feel the blade then pressed against my breast, and he laughed as I let out a choked noise of terror. I quickly nodded, then, looking straight ahead but through him, like he wasn't there. Silent tears streamed down my face. He wraps his arm around me and whispers, "Being brave won't save you, girl." And he takes a step back, pointing the knife inches from my face as he says, "Get on your knees. You're both gonna be me and my boys." Oops. Shit, this is getting a little wild. "Get on your knees. You're gonna be both me and my boys' toys for the night, if you know what's good for you." I didn't move, just continued to silently cry, oblivious to the world around me. My mind was genuinely not processing the situation or what was about to happen. I look over at my mom and she's crying too, and she grabs my hand. I can see another man fondling her, also holding a knife. "You two better listen. You two wanted this. You wouldn't be out here looking like this if you didn't want this to happen. Save the tears, you'll need them. And who knows, if you behave, you might even like it." And with that, he slaps me across the face with the back of his hand, and I crumple to the ground as my mom begins slowly lowering herself to her knees with her hands up in the air. It's then that from behind me I hear shit. This is getting wild. It's then that from behind me I hear a loud smash and swearing. The rest goes in slow motion. I look up to see a group of bikers, at least 15 of them. The smashing noise I had heard was one of them smashing a bottle against the man's head who was standing behind me. The biker quickly overtakes the 6 men and are genuinely beating them worse than anything I've ever seen, like taking their bodies and slamming their heads into the brick wall repeatedly and stomping on them unhesitantly. I swiftly drag to the side. Shit. Hulk smash, yeah. Jesus. It was funny, yeah, because I was thinking almost like, what's his name would come out, fucking Wolverine. Did you see the movie? Was it The Wolverine or something of that? It was like rated R, which was like the best ever. A rated R Wolverine movie was like the best ever. Finally get to see the blades actually do some work on somebody. I'm swiftly dragged to the side, and a biker with long... I'm swiftly dragged to the side, and a biker with a long gray beard and wearing glasses, even though it's night, asks me if I'm okay. In the madness, I had lost sight of my mom, and I say no, sobbing like a child, and he points to my right where she had been pulled out no more than 10 feet from me. A female biker is talking to her. I let out a gasp of relief, and the man quickly asks me if I can walk. I nod, unable to make words, and he quickly picks me up to my feet and grabs me by the shoulders. Listen to me. You need to get out of here. Just run home, and don't turn around, no matter what. I can't stop crying, but I actually quickly grab the man and hug him, whispering a thank you that I'm not even sure he heard. Go. You're okay now. And I nod and stumble over to my mother. I take one last glance at the fight, and at this point all I can see is the group of bikers standing around in a circle. My mom is crying the worst I've ever seen her, and we just run. We make it another 200 feet when the gunshots ring out. I freeze and turn, but my mom pulls on me and just shakes her head. It's only another minute when 2 cop cars go whizzing by us with their lights on. I don't remember the rest of the trip home at all. We were just suddenly there, and I couldn't cry anymore. My mom and I didn't say a word about it, never even talked about it again. We both got violently drunk that night. My aunt stayed upstairs, probably high as a kite anyways. I lay in the shower with a bottle of vodka in my hand. I was covered in bruises, had bits of glass in my hair, and something that had cut my face, neck, and hands. Whoops. I was covered in bruises, had bits of glass in my hair, and some that had cut my face, neck, and hands from the bottle being smashed so close behind me. But otherwise, I was physically okay. To think what could have happened made me even sicker. I hadn't even had my first kiss yet, and the thought of what was about to happen, of the fact that I was going to die that night, left me numb. I genuinely owe my life to a group of bikers who I will never be able to thank. I hope none of them got into trouble, though in my heart I believe they ended up ending the lives of 6 of those men who had surrounded us that night. Obviously, with having just been homeless, I still didn't have a cell phone. We had no cable or any computer in the apartment, so I was never able to confirm what happened. It's only with typing this now that I consider for the first time looking it up to see if I could find anything on it, but I don't want to be reminded. I don't want to ever see the gang's faces again, even if they are dead. And I definitely don't want to see that biker gang who saved my mother and I might have had... Wait, what? And I definitely don't want to see that biker gang who saved my mother and I might have had... Wait, what? And I definitely don't want to see that biker gang who had saved my mother and I might have had serious negative... I don't ever want to see that gang's face again, even if they're dead, and I definitely don't want to see the biker gang who saved my mother and I might have... Oh. Okay, yeah, it was just a really weird run-on sentence. I don't ever want to see the gang's face again, even if they're dead. And I definitely don't want to see the biker gang who saved my mother and I, as there might have been serious negative repercussions for doing so. So those are the biker gang who saved our lives. Thank you, from the bottom of my heart. And to everyone else out there, please, stay safe. Buffering? Buffering, you kidding me? Poorly written, good grief. Yeah, thankfully it was only that last sentence that, sometimes I feel like it's always the first sentence and the last sentence that, like, otherwise well-written stories, like, overlook when they're, like, rechecking the grammar or whatever. And obviously, I guess if this person had a traumatic experience, they probably didn't want to, like, send it to an editor or something. You know what I mean? Go to crazy lengths. It is weird to think, like, I don't know, just like what gangs are. They're just such a strange thing. Like, you just spend your day and night, like, being bad. Yeah. That's all I do in life, baby. I just be bad. My life is born to do bad things, hurt people, wait in alleyways with knives, and turn people into toys. Monica, I'm glad my voice can calm you. If you want to, I mean, you don't have to count mistakes. I'm just saying if anybody's bored. Gang, gang, baby, gang, gang. Mistake counter gang. Weak, fearful men. It is true. It's just strange. I mean, it's just weird because, like, once you get inundated into that, I guess as a young person, it's like, how do you escape it? It's like trying to, like, leave the mob, I guess. I was watching earlier. I don't know, it's just weird. Feel like I haven't just, like, watched movies in forever. I guess playing video games just fuels the sort of ADD mind. Natalia, how are you? But, like, what was the movie? It was Al Pacino. I think it was Casino. But I had only caught in the middle of it, and they were going to some big deal. And they were in a kind of a high-rise room with, like, families. And he gave out, like, checks for, like, $50 million to everyone who had invested early on. And then because he gave all those people all the generous money, it ended up pissing off one of his friends, and he made a big speech about being, wildly offended and everyone betraying him and now being his enemy. And then he stepped out, and then someone locked the doors with, like, handcuffs, and then a fucking helicopter came around the front of the windows and just, like, started shooting into everyone, and it was like I don't know, it was pretty intense. I was like, shit, I haven't seen, like, a violent movie in a while. Or I guess, like, a gangster movie. Brad Allen with the 5. Buckaroo says, Footbird with a melon. Hell yeah. Thank you, Brad, for the 5. And Garrett Weissman with the 2. What's up, Garrett? I got your back on the mistake counter. Thank you, Garrett. Be gentle. I'm new at this. Yeah, they were kind of herded like sheep into there. And I almost pretty sure, I didn't actually get to see, but I almost thought it was Al Pacino's character that put the fucking locks on the, like, the handcuffs on the door. So it's almost like him and that guy, like, had that all planned out, I guess. I guess that would be the easiest way. You're giving all $50 million, and there was probably, like, multiple people in that room, at least, like, 10 to 20. So you can imagine multiplying $50 million by 20 dead people. You guys are making it out of there with quite a bit of moolah. Nikita Kano with the 5. Australian says, how have you been? I've been good. I've been super swell. It was kind of funny. Saturday was my buddy's birthday, so we went out for that. He was turning 30, so needless to say, he's suicidal. No, I'm just kidding. But we were out at the bar that he works at, and everyone was happy to see him and stuff. But I think he got a little too tuned up because he he ended up suddenly disappearing, which was very strange, but I guess people were kind of used to that when he gets blacked out or whatever. And then everybody was kind of visiting in town to see him or whatever. Some people were, and then we get back to the house that everybody was going to be staying at, and he had like locked all of the doors, like every possible entrance, and he had just locked them. And yeah, so everyone had to stay somewhere else. But it was just kind of like so funny to think, like, in his drunk, blacked out mind, his subconscious told him to just lock everybody out. I was more worried that we'd see him in the morning eventually, or somehow get in the house eventually with him like face down and vomit or something like that. But thankfully not. He's just an idiot. Monica Nicole Skyvlog with the 3 buckaroonies. Thank you, Monica. What's a Skyvlog? Is that you're flying around everywhere? Mr. Gooley with the 2 buckaroonies says, any good movie recommendations, preferably Netflix? I don't know. What do you guys think? What have you been watching lately? I remember seeing Cloud Atlas on there. I've said that movie many a times before, but I love Cloud Atlas. It's freaking sick. And Kelso Succuboso with a 14 Canadian maple syrup. Dog says my dog says he loves you. Aw. Love you, Pepperoni. Thank you. Give him a kiss on his big, beautiful, hairy face for me. I appreciate that. Thank you. Emmy B with the 5 says, I had a crazy dream that I was a spider super high up in a tree. Like everything looked super tiny from my view, and then I fell. Oh, that's scary. That'd be sweet, kind of. I've never been a spider, but I don't think I've ever like been something else before in a dream. I always feel like I'm myself. Cheyenne Dory Bob with the 2 says, drive by with frozen butter socks. That would be good. That would definitely be our gang's M.O. Naked as Monty says, dark. It's on Netflix. Interesting. All right, this next one says, oh, I know your mom. She told me to pick you up. I thought it'd be funny. I kind of want to do a skit where it's like you drive up to an old person and he said, get in the car. Like, what? Why? And they're like, I know your mom. She told me to pick you up. What are you talking? My mom's been dead for years. What are you talking about? How do you know? You have Alzheimer's. Or just, yeah, so. Nikita Connell with the 5 says, what Scream the series on Netflix? What Scream? Is it called What Scream? On the Netflix? So good. Yeah, I need to watch shows. I just like never take time to just watch things because I really need people to just watch stuff with. Altered Carbon, yeah, I heard that was pretty cool. Isn't that sort of like a what's that one show where it's just like all sorts of different types of, like Twilight Zone or something of that nature, where it's like different every episode. Castlevania, okay. I thought that was just a video game. This happened when I was 11 years old. I know it was right around then because I was with my little brother in the $2 theater seeing the new Avatar movie that had come out just a few months earlier in 2010. It was in the middle of this little shopping area surrounded by stores. My mom had dropped me off with my little brother, Jay, who had only just turned 4 at the time. I think my twin, Cass, had gone to a friend's birthday party sleepover, which is why I was allowed to take Jay. My mother was supposed to be only in one of the stores. My mother was supposed to only be in one of the stores immediately around the little theater, but evidently she didn't anticipate how long the movie was going to be, and I didn't... Fuck. And I definitely didn't have a phone back then, so she had no way of contacting me or her. Fuck, I don't know why I fucked that up so bad. And I definitely didn't have a phone back then, so she had no way of contacting me or I her. Anyway, I leave the theater carrying Jay, though he could walk if he wanted to. The $2 theater was never super busy, so there was only another 6 people or so who were leaving the theater at the same time as us. As soon as we stepped out of the theater, I noticed my mother's falling apart red minivan was nowhere in sight. This immediately made me uncomfortable, but I wasn't super surprised. At first, we sat on a bench right outside the theater, waiting, while Jay kept talking about how cool the blue people were with their flying dinosaurs and how he wanted one. But after over half an hour of waiting, a worried employee came out and asked if we were okay, and if we needed her to call someone. My mother didn't have a cell phone either, so that was unhelpful, but I knew better than to act like I needed some help. God, I don't know why I'm struggling to flow with the story. My mother didn't have a cell phone either, so that was unhelpful, but I knew better than to act like I needed help. I shoot Jay a look to keep quiet, and he obeys. If she called the police, my mother would be livid. She always told us that if we thought growing up with her was bad, wait until we were put into foster care and split apart, or she'd just say if we ever left her, she'd end her own life, which I fully believe, so I just smiled politely and told the woman that our mom would be there any minute to pick us up. I knew we couldn't just stay and sit there now, so I told Jay we needed to start walking home, which looking back wasn't my best idea. The theater was almost half an hour's drive from my house. It would take me well past dark to get home by myself, and even longer still having to carry my chunky 4-year-old, especially with how small I was for my age. But I had Jay to look after, and I was super protective of him, so I was on high alert as soon as we began walking. We crossed the street on the crosswalk and began making the long trip towards our house down the sidewalk, with Jay on the inner side of me, so if anything happened, he wouldn't be hit by a car. He waddled alongside me for a while, but we didn't even make it completely out of eyesight of the shopping center when a small black car pulled over, and a middle-aged man with thinning hair and dark eyes smiled and waved at me like he knew me. "Hello there," he replies cheerfully, and I back up, still ridiculously shy, and mumbled a polite hi back. "What is a precious young lady like you doing out here? Is that your son?" Now keep in mind, I'm 11 years old and looked even younger than that. I was still completely a skinny child in appearance and definitely did not look old enough to be Jay's mother by any stretch of the imagination. I laughed awkwardly. "No, this is my little brother. We're just headed home, thank you." And with that, I pick up Jay, and we had taken to hiding. Fuck, dude. Ugh. The Witcher. I didn't get to watch any of The Witcher, but I heard it was interesting. Actually heard mixed reviews about that. Why do I never come to chat on Discord? I go to voice chat pretty frequently, probably every day. At weird times. Maybe it's just weird times. Definitely morning and early afternoon, I'm probably passed out. At least on the east coast of USA. USA! 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 I just started USA chant in here. And with that, I pick up Jay, who had taken to hiding behind me and began walking again. But he didn't drive off. He slowly continues to pull up next to me, following my pace. "Come on, let me give you a ride. It's too hot here for you to be walking with your brother. We can stop for ice cream too to cool you down. My treat." He smiles again widely, and I just shake my head. "I can't. My mom will probably pick us up on the way. She should be here any minute, really. But thank you again." I was trying to be polite as possible to get him to go away, but he continued to creep by, though I still didn't see him as a threat at all, just a nuisance. I suddenly look around and can't help but notice how unpopulated the area is. Oh, your mom? I know her. She's actually the one who called me and told me to pick you two up and take you home. And with that, my fear finally kicked in. My mother was the epitome of irresponsible, but she would never send a stranger to pick us up like this. Jay remained uncharacteristically quiet, turning his head away from the man and beginning to cry, tugging on my sleeve without saying anything. And I don't know why I decided to say something so stupid, but I did. Listen, mister. You already asked if my brother was my son, so you obviously don't know my mom. Please leave us alone. We're fine. And that's when the huge smile instantly disappears from his face. Get in the car, he says in a deadly serious tone, all joy gone. I instinctually take a step back. My mouth drops open, but no words escape. Then he raises his voice. I said now, young lady, get in the car. And before I can even respond or decide what to do, there's a laird blaring shite. Soon you guys will find out that I'm actually Irish. I've been doing a fake Let's Read accent for years. And before I can even respond or decide what to do, there's a loud, blaring car horn that takes both of our attention. I never thought I'd be so excited to see my mom's ratty minivan. I had been so entranced in fear with this conversation that I hadn't even noticed my mother pull up behind him, still blaring her horn. She looks so angry. I stick up my middle finger to the guy and run to my mom's car. She stops blaring the horn in time for me to hear tires squeal as he hits the gas and drives away like an insane man. I turn to Jay, and he's followed my lead, flipping off the man as he drives away. I begin to cry and smile at Jay, giving him a high five for being so brave. I shakily walk into my mom's van and buckle Jay into his seat, feeling like I'm about to vomit as the adrenaline finally takes control. My mother yells at me the entire way home, telling me how stupid I was to try to walk home and that I should have just waited for her. I sob and ask where she was, and she says that the movie was so long she decided to drive down the street to go grocery shopping at Walmart. I try to explain what the man was saying, thinking it might have made her less mad at me, but she snubs it, telling me he was just a concerned adult who saw two kids on the side of the road and was trying to help. It wasn't until I was near 15 when the story got brought up again, and my mom, who was drinking, immediately got a guilty smile on her face and actually admitted that she knew that I had been telling the truth, that the man had clearly been up to no good. She explained it's why she blasted the horn at him, so he wouldn't try to do anything, and that, given the way he flew out of there, is incriminating enough. She continued, claiming that she didn't tell me because she didn't want me to grow up being overly paranoid and thinking I was all that, which is ironic, given all the situations and stories to come, so, gee, thanks, Mom. Way to save the day and still manage to be a pretty crummy mother. Crummy. Big crummies. Mommy's crummies. Alrighty. I was paranoid. Mr. Gulu, do you plan on making another video in the documentary? If so, I would love to hear a documentary on Mothman. You know, I thought about it, because, our good friend, Robin Mikalsen, from Norway, fantastically talented animator, 3D sculptor. I don't really know. Anyways, he does a lot of cool shit with videos and Photoshop, and he puts so much work into those videos, and they don't really get that many views because obviously most people have subscribed because, you know, they want to hear true scary stories and things of that nature, and, you know, they want the videos to be longer and fall asleep to it or whatever. And with the documentaries, it's like usually they're still pretty lengthy, I guess, at the 20 to 30 minute mark, but it's just not the content I think people are looking for, even though the last one was like a true crime scenario. So my thought is to avoid having to like invest in, you know, paying money for editing and that kind of stuff. I thought, like, if we do go into the documentary style again, maybe I'll just do audio documentaries, you know what I mean? Where it's just like very, very limited editing, and primarily most of it's just like reading the script and stuff. I thought about a new channel, but I don't fucking know, honestly. Like the duration of time it takes to edit those things. I mean, we put out one in October. Let's see. Let me look. Just for the sake of knowing, I remember I thought we put out one like. Just the duration of time in between, like when the last one, it just takes forever, so I don't even know. So Jill Dando was a month ago, and then if you guys recall, the Ghost Ship, the Mary Celeste documentary, that was 4 months ago. So there was 3 months between each one, and I'm like, I don't know if I want to do a YouTube channel where it takes 3 months to like produce content, whereas like Nexpo and people like that do documentaries do them like every 2 weeks, you know what I mean? So it definitely would require...
Full-grown pizza.
Hey, Cecil. Welcome. Cecil is now a full-grown pizza. Everyone, welcome into the buttersock called Cecil. Thank you. And Cashy, thank you for the 3 Canadian maple syrup ballers. I hope you're doing well. And Emmy B with the 2 says, my mom is the best mom and I love her. Yeah. Good moms are the best moms. Good parents, obviously. Good people. Good people are just good. Do a video where I just burp over and over again. Now that's something I can get used to. Because we were actually going to do a 3rd documentary related to Jack the Ripper. And this one was like real freaking long, you know what I mean? And I just didn't really want to place that burden on Robin, and then it not get like that many views. And then both times I've like put out documentaries, it's like the music always tends to create issues in copyright, like where I have to like refute it and say that it, you know, because we'll use like stock stuff, but then like stupid channels will like they'll like claim their video in their automated like system of copyright, which then will like put like a stock music song into the copyright system, and then if someone else uses it, it'll mark it as if though you're using their song, and then you have to like counterclaim it and then wait for them for a day or two to be like, oh, I guess that's not my song. Let me allow this person to monetize their content with stock, you know. So it's just like, yeah. So I put out the Jill Danda one and the Jack the Ripper one. If I do the Jack the Ripper one, it does exist out there. It'll probably be just an audio documentary. Maybe I'll have someone like an artist or something do some photos to go along with it. That will be maybe every 5 minutes or something, another photo comes up or some shit. But I really don't want to like burden Robin with that much effort into something and then not see a payback. So it's more just an investment perspective, if you know what I mean. I fart from my mouth too. This is very true. You want to keep your distance when that happens, because you will throw up violently, projectilely, right back at my mouth. All right, so this one should be good. It's about an arcade, but I don't want to give it away. Oh yeah, Sarah, you mentioned about an oil painting. Yeah, I'd love to see the oil painting. Like, if you do it, definitely send it to me. I'd love to put it on Instagram or Twitter and all that good stuff. Am I Spanish? Like from Spain? Am I from the country of Spain? Because I am not. Cheyenne Dory Bob with the 5 says maybe do 911 calls or collab with your maker on his if you'd be interested in that sort of thing. Yeah, I've done 911 call videos, or not call. Oh, you mean like actual calls? But I've done true scary stories that were 911 related in the past, and that did really well, I think. So I'd definitely like to do a volume 2 of that. Oh, Hispanic. I am not Hispanic, or at least I don't think I am. His panic. I barely panic at all. You've been listening to a lot of 411 lately. Is that like 311? Bush did 411. Alright, let's kick this off. Before I start, I want to clarify and explain a few things in case that changes anything or allows for anything to make more sense. First off, I would, at this point in my life, consider myself goth, and at the time I was just beginning to transition into that lifestyle. At this point in my life, I'm used to stares or comments, but at the time, as I've been dressing alternatively but in a way that was more pulled back, I was used to stares as often. Question, guys, what is goth? Like, how do you define my voice water? How would you guys define goth? And you can rarest form. You can see what I look like if you join the. I'm not Hispanic. I'm her Hispanic. You can join the Discord and go to selfies. Click the pinned messages there, and you will see many, many forms of my face, as I am a shapeshifter. Jen Child, you silly goose with the 3 buckaroonies. Thank you, Jen. Good to see you. Thumbs up to you. Thumbs up to you. Gracias. Gracias. I'm Hispan thick. Emo equals goth. Yeah, I just, what's the point of it? You know what I mean? Like, are there any, like, equal or lesser value, not lesser value, like, is there anything that equates to, like, going through a certain phase? Like, what is it about wearing goth clothes? Like, what are the prerequisites for being goth? You gotta wear the black nails and weird makeup and maybe black clothes, but what is it that you're accomplishing by doing that? Like, is it the thoughts that you think that are goth, or is it just the outer exterior about yourself? Because, like, can you be goth but also be, like, really bubbly at the same time about life and joyful? What if I'm goth, guys? You don't even know. You don't even see me behind this microphone. Jen Child with the 2. Thank you, Jen. What are you doing? Marilyn Manson. Now, if you wanted to do goth, do you have to remove one of your ribs? Just like Marilyn Manson? Not loving, just existing. Sitting in corners. Just like the kids from South Park, you gotta flick your hair to the side. I wish I had enough hair to flick. It's been forever since I've flicked my frosted tips. The clothing, the music. Being young is funny, isn't it? It's rather silly. It's an aesthetic. Anybody here goth? Are you guys doing the goth look? Has it been dope? I feel like I remember seeing goth kids in the summertime was the weirdest time, because I feel like goth individuals definitely are a lot more comfortable during the colder months, which was like, can't you just be a goth during those months, like fall and winter? Because the second summer comes, it's like you're just sweating balls the whole time wearing your heavy black chains and whatnot, and fingerless gloves. And the makeup, oh my god, the makeup would probably freaking run. Jamie, thank you. Give me some of that blue hair. Sleep deprived look. Now that's the look I'm going for. Rings under the eyes. At this point in my life, I'm used to stares or comments, but at the time, as I had been dressing alternatively but in a way that was more pulled back, I wasn't used to stares as often. The day this story took place, I had been wearing the generic goth platform buckle boots, which to the general public stands out a lot. Another thing that I would consider important is that this specific mall and region of my state in general is known for human trafficking. The mall itself has a large arcade that's part of a large company, and so it has later closing times since it's independently run. I bring this up because there is an entrance from the mall, but there is also a separate entrance from the parking lot for when the mall is closed. Before I ramble, as I tend to do, let's begin. I was at this arcade with my sister and cousin, which isn't necessarily relevant. Black under eye bags, the whole shebang. The whole shebanger. One time, I think I had told this story before, but whenever it was Halloween, when I first started working at the hospital as a nurse, I wore my purple scrub top and had black like mascara on my eyes, and that was all I wore. You know what I mean? And I just was hoping no one would fucking notice. But it looked really funny, and I just remember as soon as I walked in, nobody else was like dressed up at all. Maybe somebody had like some sort of stupid, Halloween head thing on or whatever, but my boss didn't even look at me. She was like making copies, and she's just like, "You're gonna have to wash that off," Like, wasn't even looking at me. I'm like, all right, god damn it. Thanks for making me want to end my life at this shithole even more. And so I went to wash it off, but all it did was make all the makeup that I had on like run. So I just looked even more like terrifying, like a goth who just cried her eyes out, or his eyes out. And I should have wore Jinko scrub pants. That would have been goal. But anyways, going into a patient who had like Alzheimer's, and you wake them up to say, good evening, I'm gonna be your nurse for today, and then they just see like mascara running down your face. They're like, oh Jesus Christ, who is this ghoul? The angel of death come to taketh me. And I said, yes, follow me to the river Styx. Senpai Storm with the 5 says, been a fan for a while, often listen to your videos during quiet times, deliveries, and long trips. Keep up the great work. Thank you, Senpai. Thank you for noticing me with your 5 buckarones. Floof pants, that's what they called Jink. My brother used to wear Jinkos. He was about 9 years older than me, and those were fucking cool as hell, man. Cool as hell. At this point in life, I'm used to the stares or comments, but at the time, as I had been dressing alternatively, but in a way that was more pulled back, I wasn't used to stares as often. The day this story took place, I had been wearing the generic goth platform buckle boots, which, to the general public, stands out a lot. Another thing I would consider important is that this specific mall and region of my state, in general, is known for human trafficking. The mall itself has a large arcade that's part of a large company, and so it has later closing times since it is independently run. I bring this up because there is an entrance from the mall, but there is also a separate entrance from the parking lot for when the mall is closed. I was at this arcade with my sister and cousin, which isn't necessarily relevant aside from the fact that I'm older than them and felt like it was my responsibility to protect both of them as well as myself, and we were in the back by a cluster of Japanese claw machines. My cousin had been playing this game where you won the prize by rolling a mini version of the toy into a cup with a stupid claw that made the process long and daunting. She had been itching it, itching. Itching. She'd been itching. Do I listen to Insane Clown Posse as well? No. I've listened to like maybe one or two of their songs. I do think they're really funny. What the fuck is magnets, bro? It's a miracle. It's a miracle. But I did see a meme earlier for Pop-Tarts that were Insane Clown Posse flavor. KFC man, what's good, homie? She had been inching it along, and my sister decided to get ice cream as my cousin had been playing for at least 10 minutes. The way the claw machines are set up, there are aisles created by the machines with one at the end of the aisle that kind of acts as a bookend. The machine my cousin was playing happened to be one of the end machines, and I was watching her until I saw a man emerge out of the aisle next to us. He seemingly came out of nowhere, and I was immediately unscented. I was immediately unscented. Ash. Oh, you're at work. All right, well, have a good working time. Your friend has coronavirus. Uh-oh. Thankfully. Apparently coronavirus isn't as bad as everybody makes it out to be, because it operates very similar to the flu, so obviously the most susceptible people are like the elderly, but it's, the things that you die from are like secondary infections, which I think the rate of death that like has become sort of blown out of proportion in China is primarily due to the fact that their healthcare there is not good. They're, to a large degree, it's not as good as, I guess, westernized nations, specifically the United States, and their ability to treat secondary infections is not very effective. So thankfully, if your friend does have the coronavirus, they should be okay. But if they get the Jolavirus, yes, Fry, that's going to be bad news. It's pretty much going to be a plague to the earth. MEB with the 2 says, my fully grown pizza from Pizza Hut is on the way. Oh shit, you had a full one earlier and you're going in again. I like the sound of that. I like where your head's at. You can take HIV meds to help with it. Interesting. Didn't even know that. Also, I saw this one YouTube channel was talking about like how they may have found a possible legitimate cure for cancer. I really hope that doesn't get shut down, but it was initially they were trying to figure out the sort of a wide gamut of ways to treat bacteria, and they ended up sort of accidentally stumbling across an effective manner in which you can treat cancer. You guys can look that up. It was a pretty recent story, but it was pretty cool. He seemingly came out of nowhere, and I was immediately unsettled by his demeanor. I am in no way saying this to be judgmental, and I only mention it because I wanted to give the man a benefit of the doubt, because he possibly came from a culture with different social rules. The man was either of Indian or Spanish descent and had the widest, emptiest eyes that I've ever seen in my life. I immediately felt threatened because I tend to be paranoid, but I tried to brush it off as the man accidentally staring at me, since I do look a bit odd. However, I couldn't shake my initial feeling of dread and stole glances at the man every once in a while. Eventually, I maintained eye contact with the man as his gaze never left me, and he began to move closer to us. After about a minute of slow walking, we were less than a foot apart, and I could feel him breathing as he walked around us tightly in a very territorial and intimidating way. I kept my eyes locked on him and pulled out my phone, only breaking eye contact to pretend to dial a number and absent-mindedly telling my cousin that their random boy... they put, like, random boy name there rather than the cousin's name. Jen Child with the 2 buckaroos. Thank you, thank you. Making it rain. Trying to get that Let's Read voiced lap dance. Michael Coleman, how am I? I'm good. I'm just chucking away at these stories. We've got 10 stories total. This is story number 3. So I imagine we'll be streaming for a little while here. Had some plans tomorrow, so I'm just trying to get this get these read as a little earlier than normal, because normally I'd be like starting my stream right now. So have I seen your friend Gavin? I don't think so. What's Gavin up to? John probably wonders where we are, so I'm gonna let him know we're at the arcade. Upon hearing the mention of a man's name, the man broke eye contact and quickly scurried away to the prize shop across the way from the machine. I desperately wanted to leave, though technically nothing had happened aside from my personal space being broken, though, as I mentioned above, at that point, I had hoped that it was a cultural difference. My cousin was unnerved, but for whatever reason, she continued to play the game. I felt trapped because I didn't want to leave my cousin alone, but I felt the need to get my sister. I ended up staying with my cousin since I hadn't seen the man leave the store. Eventually, my cousin won the game and went to get an employee to retrieve the prize from the glass case. I was alone for a minute, but she came back, telling me that someone would be there soon. Somewhere in between this, the man came out of the store, and I just wanted to get my sister, as the ordeal had taken at least 20 minutes at this point. The man was inches away from us again and was doing the territorial stare as he circled us. I was so intimidated, and I remember just standing there shaking as he wordlessly stared at us. I shakily told my cousin that I was going to get my sister and walked through her and the man, barely missing brushing up against him, and walked into the aisle of the claw machines he had originally come from. I was walking backwards to the survey. Whoopsie daisies. No one will ever find you, Gavin. Where's Gavin? You guys want to know my premium Snapchat? He quickly began to shuffle toward me, and every ounce of courage left my body. Thinking on my feet, I mumbled a quick, "Never mind," and came back to my cousin. The next few minutes were agonizing as the man lingered around us. Though I was taller than him and really should have been the intimidating one, I felt so trapped and responsible for everyone around me. I didn't want to move to have him follow me, but I also just wanted my sister back so we could get out. As if it were a movie, the employee, a 20-something man that was much less intimidating than I, walked up to us to open the machine and give my cousin her prize. Immediately, the man walked down the aisle and I didn't see him again. I pushed back the urge to tell the employee the predicament. I stopped myself because I didn't want the man to blow me off and think that I was being silly. My sister ended up coming back and we quickly shuffled out. I ended up telling an employee that I had been chatting with at the... I ended up telling an employee... Jane A. with the 2 says, "Sack tap is a slippery slope." It is. You have to be careful. It's a conservative dog whistle. You don't want to offend anybody. What's up, Jane? What are you doing, silly goose? I ended up telling an employee that I had been chatting with... I keep saying that in a weird tone for some reason. I ended up telling an employee that I had been chatting with at a store earlier, and she said that we should tell security at the arcade. We went back, and ultimately they blew me off, and it really upset me because this place, despite having a bar and bowling alley, was full of kids, and I felt genuinely concerned. As this comes to a close, I'd like to add that the reason I talked about the door at the beginning of this post is because the machine that we were at was relatively close to the door, and we were alone, so the man would have had an easy time dragging us to the parking lot entrance if he needed to. I ended up having a breakdown about it that night, even though nothing really happened. I just felt so inexplicably horrified and full of dread that I can't even begin to explain. Your internet's bad and it's hard to hear. I'm sorry, dude. I feel like I have my like stream settings at the lowest possible requirements, you know what I mean? Um, but sometimes I feel like people still have struggles with uh, yeah, I thought the title of the story was going to be or was related to human trafficking, so I thought like or it said like almost trafficked at an arcade, and I feel like to imply that that creepy guy was trying to traffic them. It's a little bit of a stretch, but we'll take it. We'll take it, baby. We'll take it. I do hope to like, if I do, because I've been renting for a while, and I think it's probably quite a wise idea to wise idea to invest in a property, like a house, like a normal, not a normal adult, because obviously not everybody's going to be doing that, but I mean like, just to, because if you're going to be putting out quite a bit of money for rent, it's like you might as well just invest in a home or something, even if you go in it with somebody. Internet is fine. Sounds great. That's good. Thank you, Cecil. Awesome. Good to see. But if I do ever get a house someday, I think it would be sweet to get like the most badass internet of all time. But around where I live, we don't have like Google fiber and all that kind of stuff. And I guess we don't have 5G. That'd be funny if I got 5G and my brain just turned into boiled eggs. Winchester girl, no worries. Just good to. I'm glad you guys are here. Honestly, like I've said before, don't ever feel obligated to donate. Always look out for yourself firstest, and because I'm just going to be recording these stories anyway and doing it, in my lonesome. Makes Joel a doll boy. Pink Bunny, what is up? Did I have a good Valentine's Day? It was good. I was more stoked about the chocolate deals that would be happening the day after, which I still haven't taken a chance to go check out. I hope they haven't put those out. I remember before Valentine's Day had even ended, they already had the chocolate eggs out for April's April's Easter, which I'm like, geez, man, that's like even earlier than Christmas shit. But whatever. I wonder if that would be interesting if they just like have eggs from last year that didn't sell or didn't go out, so they just like put them out super early, like, oh, we gotta get them out before the expiration date. Hopefully nobody notices. Jesus Christ. Jen, you're gonna human traffic me. Where are we going? Where are you taking us, mister? Ooh, the sugar cookies. Those are really good. How do they even make those? I feel like they're just made out of like straight up icing. But those sugar cookies, I know the ones you're talking about at Walmart. I think like every Walmart has them. And they're always, I feel like they're almost like right out in the open as you like roll in. And I remember eating a whole box of those and having the worst freaking acid reflux. Maybe not the worst I've ever had, but it definitely was real, real bad. And the worst I ever had was whenever I ate, because I normally hadn't really gotten it till later on here in life or whatever. I used to just be able to eat everything and not really even know what acid reflux was. Like people talked about heartburn as like adults, and I was like, that's just a stupid adult thing. Fucking losers. Obviously their stomachs suck. And and I remember eating insomnia cookies one time and got some pretty bad heartburn. And then I took Tums. And holy effing fart, dude. Holy fucking fart. I literally, like, I felt like I was having a heart attack. My stomach hurt so fucking bad. Like, my chest was just like, I actually thought I was going to have to go to the hospital. And just to distract myself from it, I ended up going on like a 2-hour walk in hopes that it would like speed up my digestion or something. But what I think ended up happening, because when you take Tums, it's actually like the worst possible thing you could take for acid reflux. A lot of people take them. If you're listening to this right now, stop taking that, because acid reflux is essentially, I've talked about this before. It's a reaction that your body has when your stomach acid is not acidic enough. It's not the appropriate pH to like break down, you know, the food that you're eating. And when you eat sugar, you have bacteria and fungus within your stomach that feeds off that sugar. A byproduct of the fungus is, or the bacteria is literally like bicarbonate, which will weaken the acidity or decrease the acidity of your stomach, which then causes like the sphincter that goes down and from your esophagus down in your stomach to open up. I don't know why that happens in the presence of like a higher mid-range pH, and then your stomach muscles will push around the acid to try to cover more of the food, which ends up shooting it up into your esophagus, which creates the heartburn that we all feel and experience. So, long story short, the best option that you can do is before you eat food, if you have bad acid reflux, is to use apple cider vinegar. Apple cider vinegar is like literally the greatest blessing on human earth. Put 2 tablespoons of that into your drinky drink of water with like 8 ounces of water, and just take that. If you can do that once a day. You can do that before every meal, and all of a sudden you're gonna be like, wow, my acid reflux doesn't completely suck donkey dong right now. And that's my spiel. I'm done with that. But yeah, do not take Tums. Tums is literally a death sentence for acid reflux. Because Tums is essentially just like calcium or some shit, and it just, all it does is weaken your acid even more by neutralizing the acid, which just basically is just masking the symptoms briefly, but will over time it can give you like stomach ulcers and shit like that. And not a fan of that. Dolly Reynolds Dolce with a 10 buckaroo says, my kitty Bowie wants me to tell Pradeep hi. We love you, Joel, our Buttersock cult leader. Keep it up your ass. Thank you, Dolly. Thank you for the 10. Pradeep is all curled up right now. I'll give him a pat to show his love. I do wonder if my cat dreams. Like, you always wonder if your cats are having dreams, because like, they sleep all the time. They sleep all the time. And like, they gotta dream, right? Unless they... Alec Vega with the 10 buckaroo says, yeah, my night is going to be awesome again. Me and my friends ain't gonna have a drinking night, lol. We didn't survive last time and we lost count afterwards, but we are ready for this time. Nice, Alec. Yeah, I feel bad that I was kind of a bad influence, getting you to have a few too many drinky drinks and perhaps stepping out of your previous occupations. Wolves fan, what's up, dude? Says, you saw Being Scared had a collab with Graveyard Girl. I didn't see that, that stinks, because me and Graveyard Girl had a whole little Halloween collab prepped and ready. I had like a Halloween story to be read on her channel, and I just don't think the timing was right, and that never actually panned out. So hopefully next year. It was basically going to be essentially identical to how it panned out with when Corpse Husband was on there. Not that obviously there's no disrespect or anything like that, but I know how collabs can be, where people want to collab with me, I'm all about it, and then like as time comes closer to that time, I'm like, my brain is so scatterbrained everywhere else that I just totally space. I'm sure many of people who have tried to collab with me in the past can probably attest to that, and then it just kind of gets away from me. And the best way to collab with me is persistence. Just keep bugging me until I'm eventually like, all right, Jesus Christ, leave me alone. Just kidding. I would never say that. Okay. Horror and Scare Fanatic 89. Let's read. I love your voice. Very soothing. Thank you for your stories. By the way, collab with Graveyard Girl and Being Scared was amazing. All right, nice. Yeah, what happened in that? Maybe I'll have to check it out here after the stream. Asherella, what up? What's proppin'? My thumbnails could be movie posters. Thank you. That's the amazing work of Robin. He's a very gifted and talented individual. And honestly, whenever we got onto Watch Mojo's top 10 horror narrators, I forget what number I was. If I was like number 4 or something like that, or number 7, I don't really know. They were all kind of like scattered around anyway. So it was very big honor to just be part of that. One of the things they specifically mentioned was the thumbnails looking cool. So I was like, wow, Robin's fucking killing it on that regard. Me and Mr. Nightmare. Yes, I would love to collab with him. You should just spam him. Collab with Lightstreet. Collab with Lightstreet. I don't really even know how I would get in contact with him. I'm like borderline about to say I'll literally pay money to be on your channel. Like, if that would help the channel a little bit. But who knows even if a collab would even push that many people in the direction of this channel. Perhaps. So yesterday, So yesterday, I was walking back home after hanging out with some friends. Before anyone asks, I was completely sober and in my right mind. I've never been afraid to walk alone in the dark. I'm quite tall and intimidating looking from a distance, and I always bring a pocket knife when I know I'll be walking in the dark. I was walking past some woods on the way back to my house, and I heard my mother's voice call, "Gabriel, help!" from inside the woods. I immediately recognized her voice and turned to look into the woods. She kept calling my name over and over. I couldn't see anything. It was far too dark to see through the trees. "Mom?" I called back, heading towards the woods. She sounded like she was in trouble and scared. I assumed that she had gone for a run like she did every night and somehow got lost in the woods. Then I realized it couldn't be her. She had texted me only 10 minutes before, asking me to come home soon to watch my little sister so she could go on a run. I stopped dead in my tracks and called my mom. The voice in the woods, still calling my name and getting more frantic by the second. She picked up and I immediately asked her if she was in the woods. She said no. She was back home with my little sister. I swear to God, as soon as she said she was back at home. Joel, please stop using the British guy. Who's the British guy? I've had quite a few British goys on board. Graveyard Girl sounds like the kindergarten teacher. I like a kindergarten teacher. She is very bubbly. She does have a very fun, bubbly personality. I do really like her. She does some cool stuff. I swear to God. That's what I have to be. It's be real menacing. I swear to God. As soon as she had said she was back home, her voice stopped calling my name from inside the woods. I was overcome with a wave of dread and fear that I had never felt before. Something in the woods was trying to lure me in using my mother's voice, and it knew my full name, not just my nickname, which made things even scarier because the only person who calls me Gabriel is my mom. I immediately turned and ran faster than I ever ran before back home. When I got back home, my legs felt like jello and my lungs burnt. I opened the door and there was my mom, sitting on the couch with my sister. I would think this was some sort of prank, but my mom isn't one for pranks, and even if she was, there's no way she could have gotten home before me without me seeing her. Dude, what is oh, it's called a mimic, right? The people that are like the thing that's out in the woods that like calls your name. Has anybody else ever had that happen to them before? Because I'm almost like, I wonder what happens to people if they get called out into the woods. Like, what is a mimic and what will it do to you? Because I always think, like, in a horror movie sense, you know, he goes out there, he's like, where the fuck's my mom? And then all of a sudden, like, oh, is number 5 on Watch Mojo? Thank you, Garrett. Nice. You know, you get out there, then all of a sudden, I don't know, a tree branch falls on you, or you fall off a cliff that you didn't see that was there before, and it's like, seems like a natural thing. Like, if I was a scary movie monster, that's how I would get stuff. Jake Soley, what's up, broski? What's the good news? Well, you know, I guess skinwalkers do present with that sort of, like, you know, I guess skinwalkers do present with that sort of scary thing. But I always heard they were called mimics. Isn't the mimic a chest from the Discworld? Yeah, I guess in Dark Souls there was like a chest that you open up and it was like a big monster that just eats you, which is pretty funny. Shantae Kane says, Joel, come to the dark side. Joel, it's me, the woods. Come make a tree house. Come climb my tree house, Joel. No, I'm gonna get a splinter. Joel, there's honey up here. In a jar, not even in like a beehive. No, I'm diabetic and I can't have that much sugar, Mom said. Alright, this happened a year and a half ago. I'm 31-year-old petite female at 5'2", looks much younger. Alright, cool. I'm a 31-year-old busty female. Sorry, we won't go there. Mimic is also a film. I've never seen it. This happened a year and a half ago. I am a 31-year-old petite female at 5'2" who looks a bit young. I sound like the guy from Family Guy. Oh jeez. Oh no. I love that when wasn't he a bee? Wasn't he a bee in one episode or something? That was really funny. Oh, the red character off of Powder. Oh yeah, it's me, the devil. Or yeah, his name was him. What a weird show that was. Mojo Jojo. Mojo Jojo. I love Mojo Jojo. He was freaking cool, man. Shit. I'm a 31-year-old petite female at 5'2" who looks much younger. To set the backstory, I'm a self-employed sub-postmaster. Sub-postmaster? What's a sub-postmaster? Oh, is it like you... Isn't it kind of like that one story you read about the haunted stuff where the person goes around and kind of like bids on mail places, like mailing routes or whatever? Mojo. To set the backstory, I am a self-employed sub-postmaster of a post office. Here in Scotland, the post offices are privatized and separate from the Royal Mail Delivery Service, so this is my own business, which I had taken over and subsequently relocated to my pre-existing shop. And the reason for the move is another interesting story involving a year of lies, harassment, and vindictive... Shit. I'm a 31-year-old female, and I'm very attractive. Like, I've got boobies and a butt and a pretty face, and I've got hair that's soft, and oh boy, let me tell you about my short skirt. I'm like, geez, that was kind of unnecessary. You're supposed to scare us, not turn us on. Whoever submitted this story, come on. The reason for the move is another interesting story involving a year of lies, harassment, and vindictive ulterior motives, which I will reserve for another time. I was over a year into running the post office when I was getting ready to head out of town for the weekend for the first time since taking over. Preparing my staff on the Wednesday night, I ran over a few safety procedures. I told her that it wouldn't happen, but if anybody came into a life-threatening... Shit, I don't know why I even said... why... I told her that it wouldn't happen, but if anybody came in threatening to rob the place, she was to let them have it. Put her own safety first. Money isn't worth your life, etc., etc. I told her about the panic buttons, but reiterated that as far as I was aware, nobody has attempted this in the 60-odd years that the post office has been located on my street, and it probably will never happen. The next day was my last day before going away. Another colleague that worked beside me had Thursdays off, so I was working alone, everything going as normal. At one point, a young lad in shorts and t-shirts stuck his head in the door and asked if I had a cash machine. I informed him he could withdraw cash at the counter. He replied, "Okay, I'll be in a minute, I just need to grab my card." No red flags. This happened regularly. He might have left his wallet in his car, or maybe he lives really close. 10 minutes later, and after serving other customers, I was back alone when a figure came in wearing a tracksuit bottoms, a pullover jacket with hood up and scarf pulled up over his face. As previously stated, a lad had come in with shorts and t-shirt. This outfit before me was abnormal for our warm end of summer weather. He asked if he could speak to a manager. "I am the manager," I replied. "What? Nobody's through the back? Nobody else I can speak to?" All right, here we go. The irony. I pulled the door behind me shut and stepped backwards. The lad said to not press any buttons as he scanned the room for a camera and simply said, "I need money," as he shifted his jacket, revealing a knife tucked in his waistband. It's funny how fight or flight overrules logic. I also now know that in a situation that results in the fight or flight response, my scrappy Scottish attitude overrules my aforementioned petite stature. I stepped forward towards the panic buttons, but wanting to maintain the upper hand and keep them to my advantage, I said, in the most sincerely threatening, growling, and menacing voice possible, "First of all, I have panic buttons. Second of all, you better get out, right now." This startled him. He looked around, glanced out the window, and bolted. So much for "let them have the money, don't put yourself in danger, money isn't worth your life" spiel. I had recognized his build and voice as the shorts and t-shirt lad that had been in previously. As I had seen his face then, I was able to identify him from both a photo and video lineup. He was caught within hours, and after a court appearance, all he gained for his attempted armed robbery was a bruised ego and a jail sentence. Oops, let me read that over again. He was caught within hours, and after a court appearance, all he gained for his attempted armed robbery was a bruised ego and a jail sentence. Who's playing Monopoly? Rarest Form says, "I think I'm a youngin' because when I see Buttersock, I think of Sam from iCarly. Anybody else?" I think that's where the meme started. Because I honestly don't really know where it started. I guess it was an iCarly thing, but then it turned into a cult, and we've come too far now to ask any questions. That's like a church or something asking questions. That's a no-no around here. We just kind of go with the flow. It's tradition, really. A 1-year tradition. I was number 5 on Watch Mojo. Yeah, I saw that. Thank you. Yeah, that's crazy. It's kind of weird. Middle of the road, I suppose. Forgot to turn my wireless headphones off earlier, so now they are dying. I hate that. Yeah, I have like sound proof headphones or whatever, where you flick a switch and it I guess revert. It's supposed to like whatever sound waves are hitting it, it reverses them or creates like an inverse sound wave so that it like isolates the noise to your ear, which does make it sound really good. They're like these Bose ones, and they use a AAA battery, and a lot of times I'll forget to turn off the switch and the AAA battery will just die overnight, and I'm like, fuck, now I need to go get a AAA battery. Let's Breed should have been #1 on Match Mojo, I know. Should have petitioned them. Sons of bitches. Sons of bitches. That's a cool channel, though. I don't know. I wonder how much effort goes into the channel. Like, how many videos? They put out 4 videos a day, don't they? That's insane to me. That's literally crazy. I'm dating Billie Eilish. Well, I don't think that would be quite legal yet, Bros, so. But she said when she turns 18, she'll definitely give me a text, so well, you take that as you may. It does make me curious if any sort of like big stars and whatnot have like secret favorite YouTube channels, you know what I mean? Oh, this next story is about a registered nurse. Your brother owes you an Xbox controller? Did he throw that onto the ground? Wolves fan, she's 18. Oh my God. Oh my Lord, Billie Eilish. Oh, I got a text from her. Here she is. Hey Billy, like the green hair. You look like a Pokemon trainer from one of the newer ones, Sword and Shield. Do you want to play racquetball? No baggy clothes. Sorry, we shouldn't be mean to Billy. Billy's, I'm sure, a fantastic person. I was curious about in her music video how she did the bleeding from the eyeballs with the black, remember that? The black liquid coming out of her eyeballs and all that shit? That was pretty cool. How you do that? Girl, how you do that there? Yeah, wait, so your brother smashed your Xbox controller? That sucks. Billy's too awesome for me. She loves you. Jane, does she text you too? What does she say to you? Antonio Brown's favorite YouTube channel is The Joker. What's The Joker? I've never seen the YouTube Joker channel. Unless it's like music related. Okay, Night Shift RN experience. Here we go. I worked at a small old hospital for a couple of years. 4 floors, only 2 floors being used, and a small ER. I was a med-surg RN working 7 p.m. to 7 a.m. Med-surg meant we had patients who had just had or needed to have surgery, and also patients who were just sick. Most of the patients were elderly and just sick with things like pneumonia, anemia, acute kidney failure, etc., etc. When older folks get sick, they tend to get confused and might do or say things that they normally wouldn't. But this, whatever this was not cool. This was mortifying, and I'm the only one who heard it. We joke that because the hospital was so old that it was creepy, and specifically on the right wing of our unit, and obviously at night. Guess who got assigned the right wing that night? So I got bedtime meds ready for the old folks down there and started walking down the hall with my med cart and charts for each patient. I had received report from the previous day's RN that room 214 was a woman, we'll call her Kathy, who was only 55 and in for pneumonia, completely alert and oriented. I give the patients down there their meds one by one, and yeah, I'm tired and mildly annoyed that it takes room 216 over 10 minutes to swallow a plethora of pills, one by one, and then proceeded to pull out his IV that was delivering his antibiotics. But I digress. So, needless to say, it took me a little longer to get to room 214. She didn't seem upset, just tired. I did my assessment, and she was, in fact, oriented to day, time, name, and location. I say goodnight after hanging another bag of fluids. I'm hanging out in the hall with my computer, documenting my assessments, and I hear something that shook me. It sounded like whispering, but I heard more than one person doing it. I cocked my head up and hear better. I mean, it is night shift, and I'm tired, so I'm making sure I actually heard this. I follow the noise to the outside of Kathy's room, and there seems to be a full-blown whispery conversation going on with multiple people. I couldn't make out what the different voices were saying, but it sounded like chanting of some sort. I had to make sure I was legitimately hearing these whispers that seemed like they were coming from different people, and try to make some sense of it. I walked slowly past her door, which was slightly cracked open, hoping to hear things more clearly. The whispered chanting sound only got louder and were still unintelligible. Kathy, who had been tucked in bed and dozing off when I saw her less than 7 minutes ago, was now sitting straight up on the side of her bed, looking away from me at the wall. Doesn't that sound pretty scary? Well, Kathy was unable to lift herself out of bed without assistance during my assessment. Kathy was having labored breathing when I assessed her. Now Kathy has pulled her nasal cannula out of her nose, the plastic thing that goes around your face and has two spouts that go up your nose to give you extra oxygen, sat up in bed in less than 7 minutes without struggle, and then she stood up, still looking away. She turned and walked to the bathroom, still without seeing me. Because she was labeled a fall risk, she shouldn't be out of bed alone. I saw her profile and her lips were not moving, but the whispers grew louder. I panicked, but kept my cool. I briskly walked to the nurse's station and asked if a nursing assistant could please help Kathy with the restroom. I normally would do it myself, but I was rather busy and Kathy was doing quite well on her own. I was sweating, freaking out, and getting further behind on my charting. The nursing aide helping Kathy didn't report anything unusual when I asked how she was doing. I promise, I swear I heard those voices. They were loud. They were unsettling, to say the least. I requested the left wing as often as possible after that, and eventually went on to work at a larger hospital. I don't know why, that's just really funny to me. Like, I peeked into a room and heard demons, and I walked out and asked the nursing assistant if maybe they could just handle that. Hey, Margaret, can you help 214 in their room? Oh, yeah, they're doing all right. Yeah, there's just demons in there. I just got a lot of charting to get done, and if you could just go do an exorcism, that would be great. Bedside. Thank you. I saw the video of Mr. Beast giving his girlfriend 10,000 roses. I did not. Guys, I gotta be honest with you. And this isn't even really a controversial statement by any means, but I could give two shits less about Mr. Beast's videos. I watch them and they're just like the most boring, nonsensical clickbait bullshit I've ever seen in my life. And it's fine. Like, I'm not sitting here trying to praise my own videos or anything of that nature, but I'm just like, I went back through his history because sometimes I like to like go back to like the oldest video and see their like rise to fame and how like people got to become like, you know, the most whatever or the biggest bullshit or what's so grandiose about their stuff. And like, he literally, all of his stuff all revolves around this like 10,000 doing 10,000 something or other. Like, it's every video. I feel kind of bad for him, and I think I've talked about this before, but I feel bad for channels that like kind of pigeonhole themselves into like just clickbait territory all the time. You know what I mean? And like he's one of his first videos they started doing really well on was just like a clickbait one, like saying me reading the entire dictionary straight, you know, and it was like, you know, I don't know how many fucking hours it took, but it was a long time. And then it became like me giving, and this was like when his channel was, I think, still relatively small, like me giving 10,000, yeah, 10,000 thoughtless videos, yeah, me giving $10,000, and all it is just like giving away money, or, you know, giving away a boat, or giving, you know, it's just, it's weird. It's like, it's almost like it's a meta parody of itself, you know what I mean? Like it perpetuates itself in and of itself being so ridiculous, you know what I mean? Like, it's like it can't exist. It gets, the people click on it because the videos are so ridiculous, but the videos can't get clicks, or the whole premise of the entire, all of the videos are just literally being so insane, you know what I mean? So it's just like this perpetual movement forward. Like, there's no rhyme or reason to the channel. It's just like, I am a human being and I have a lot of money now, and would you like to see me, you know, crush a kindergarten class with, you know, $1 trillion? And everyone's like, fuck yeah, I'm going to click that on that. Also, it has all capital letters. That's pretty sick, too. Sick, dude. Thank you so much for crushing my kindergarten class with $10 trillion. It was very kind of you. And I, you know, I understand, like, when channels like Markiplier, like, maintain their viewership in relation to Let's Plays because of maybe his personality or something of that nature. But it's always weird to me. I'm like, does Mr. Beast have... does Mr. Beast kind of... what's his personality like? Is he interesting, or is it literally all circling around this strange clickbait stuff? But I digress. It doesn't matter. But it's just like, I feel like if there's any video that encompasses the insane nature of YouTube and clickbait, I would say Mr. Beast's channel is essentially a meme unto itself. That kindergarten class should have gotten out of the way. Somebody should do like a Mr. Beast parody channel or something where it does have titles like that. Watch me crush a kindergarten class with $10 trillion. And then just do like shitty animations or something of that nature. What's up, guys? I made over $10 trillion on YouTube from one video alone. Now watch me take all of that and burn it. Oh yeah, I just realized that I used to do some of my videos with all caps. Huh. I need to get back on that. Yes, please make sure to like and share the video if you have not already. Alright. Alright. What do I think of the new TikTok girl, Charlie D'Amelio? I'm going to be honest with you, TikTok's not one of those things that I have kept up to date on when it comes to the cool hip happening stuff. Like, when it comes to TikTok, I am a full-on boomer, and I have missed that whole boat. Want me to read something disturbing? Alright. Also, there hasn't been as many, like, Vine has all these, like, memes you can reference and remember, but TikTok, do they have any? Like, whenever you post a TikTok video, can you, like, re-Vine it or retweet it? You know what I mean? Is that a possibility? Not many strange things happen to me. I am fascinated with sleep and dreams and how each affect our minds. However, what I experienced was not a dream. I don't exactly know what it was. The story isn't filled with action or anything like that. It's just a mysterious occurrence that I don't know how to explain. I have a really bad sleep schedule. I'm usually wide awake at night and more tired during the day. It was about 1 p.m. I was in my bed, getting a bit drowsy. I was trying to battle falling asleep. I don't really know how to describe what happened next, but the video I was watching suddenly stopped emitting sound. I was really confused and didn't seek to do anything about it, but I did decide to get up and get some food. I was walking downstairs, got food, and ate it. You may think that has no importance, but it will make sense to why this is notable. I felt myself eating and swallowing food. I then went upstairs and went to the bathroom. Again, I felt myself go to the bathroom. I felt it leaving my body. Of course, in a normal story, details like this don't matter. However, in this story, it does. I finally returned back to her. Wait, Sean, you don't like the British guy, but you're from the UK. I thought, wouldn't be hearing his accent just essentially be similar to other British accents? Okay, hit or miss, I'm already Tracer, and Drink All, Still My Cup, and of course Old Town Road started on TikTok. Ah, I see. I'm already Tracer. Free Hong Kong. We were talking about the Free Hong Kong thing today, and people were saying about how they thought the coronavirus was released to how the coronavirus was released to help curb the Hong Kong uprising or movement or something of that nature. But also the fact that like nobody really ever talks about the Free Hong Kong thing anymore. I mean, there was like some mild legislation, I guess, like placed out that, showed where essentially it reversed previous legislation that was supposed to like allow China to like extradite Hong Kong citizens to the mainland at will or whatever. And then the legislation, I guess, countered that. Some bullshit. I don't know. I don't keep up with it, but it is funny. Like, I feel like all of us, like, you get on Twitter, you get on anywhere, like, everybody has such a short memory. Or you get on even, like, Reddit, where, like, Reddit, like, a video, something like Onision or, J Station, all that bullshit, like, we'll get all this attention, sorry to keep saying, but it'll get all this attention, and everyone will create some, like, Fox outrage about caring about it, and click the upvote button, click the retweet, leave a bitchy comment or something like that. But literally within a week or even the same day, like, no one gives a shit. You know what I mean? It's not like I think it's kind of a good thing maybe sometimes for the internet to have a place for people to do their like 2 minutes of hate. You know what I mean? You recall that from 1984 where it was like, they had the 2 minutes of hate where they put up on a screen, this is the person you should hate today, or this is why they suck, and everyone lets out all their aggression and anger, and they feel a sort of sense of cathartic joy from doing it. And I almost feel like maybe it is a good thing to have like people indirectly sort of passive-aggressively express their opinions online, because then I guess maybe it keeps them from going out and actually like taking action against someone such as Onision and the like. But I do find the sort of ADHD aspects of the internet to be interesting, because in the same way that you can get like a new puppy video on Instagram, every 5 seconds, you can always find the newest, craziest outrage as well. And then there's always someone to capitalize on the outrage also, where they make a video like filling you with the newest tea. I've got the tea. I'm here to fill you in with the tea. It's hot tea with some cream and some sugar. Oh, the gossip. The gossip is thick in this one, we tell you. Oh my god. I finally returned back to my bed to browse on my phone, still not emitting sound. I'm on Instagram, looking at a few posts. This will be important later on. I finally put my phone down and just started thinking about random thoughts. Nothing important. It felt like 40 to 50 minutes of just thoughts. Suddenly, like a flash, I was under my blanket. My phone continued playing where the video left off, now emitting sounds. I was almost paralyzed with fear. What just happened? I was back where I was, still 1 p.m. It still felt like an entire hour had passed, but my clock had not moved a minute. This is where me eating and going to the bathroom comes to play. I swear I ate. I swear I walked downstairs. I felt every step push against me. I felt the food being eaten and swallowed. I felt everything. I know I did. I remember going back up the stairs. I felt that. I felt myself going to the bathroom. It felt the same as when I normally do it. There was no difference. What happened? I felt the comfort of my bed. I remember myself thinking, if it was a dream, time would have passed and I would have... Whoops. My British accent is top-notch, thank you. Does coronavirus involve free beer? Oh yeah, and 1 lime. If it was a dream, time would have passed and I wouldn't have felt anything. It wasn't a lucid dream because, again, time would have passed and I don't think I would have felt anything. I also have never had a lucid dream in my life. I lived out an entire hour of my life that never existed. I went downstairs to see if the snack I had was still there. We only had one of those snacks I had left, so if I did actually eat it in the real world, it would be gone. I opened up the pantry and, believe it or not, the snack was still there. I didn't eat it. I felt myself eat it. How could that be possible? I felt every bite. Every time I swallowed, I felt it all. There was no way that I didn't eat that snack. Of course, I couldn't prove if I went to the bathroom or not. In that vision, I flushed, so if I did actually go to the bathroom in real life, I couldn't see it. I assumed that I didn't actually go to the bathroom in the real world and that I didn't eat in the real world. However, there was still one thing left. The post I saw on Instagram. I checked Instagram, mostly to calm my nerves. However, this just made the entire situation even more creepy. I was browsing Instagram and I recognized every single post I saw. They were all in the same order and the same post as I saw in my vision. There was not a way, This is a dream. You have these lucid dreams, 21 Pilots lover? I don't know, I feel like I've had dreams. I'm not done with the story yet, but I feel like I've had dreams where I've felt things. I've even had dreams where I felt myself pee in the dream, and I get really worried where I'll wake up and have pissed my bed. And I haven't, which is a very big relief. There was no way that my brain could have made up those actual Instagram posts. No way at all. I don't know how that happened. I have no other choice but to believe that I traveled to another dimension. I actually believe that. I'm not a superstitious person or religious. Never in my life have I felt as if though I'm cursed or that other dimensions even exist. But this is the only conclusion I could come up with. You may think I was sleepwalking the entire time, but that just doesn't make sense. I have no history of sleepwalking, and it was too real to be a figment of my imagination. All I'm saying, sleepwalking is ruled out. It was all too real. Of course, it wasn't a dream or a lucid dream. I have some theories onto why I think I traveled to this other dimension. The reason I felt all those things was because I actually did them somewhere else. I guess I somehow teleported. And I guess in that dimension, phones don't emit noise. I went downstairs in that dimension. I ate. I went to the bathroom. I browsed Instagram and laid on my bed to think. All of that actually happened in that dimension. I still remember it happening as memories, as if though they were actually real, which I guess they were real in a lateral sense. A lateral sense, son of a bee. A lateral sense. literal sense. Logan Paul versus Antonio Brown, who you got a man who finds dead people in Amityville, or an ex-NFL player who's a clown and also cheated on his wife and left his 5 kids. What about him? Also, sometimes I almost feel as if, though, it would be really hard to be like a big celebrity like Antonio Brown, where you have kids, you have a wife, but like everywhere you're going, you're just like constantly being tempted to give in to your carnal desires. And I'm just like, that would suck, you know, for a man to be placed in a situation like that all the time. It's almost destiny, not destiny, but you're almost destined to essentially have your life fall apart. You know what I mean? Asherelle, you can lucid dream, not always, but often. It's weird. Wake up crying. Oh, that is weird. I did have a dream where I was like crying, and I woke up crying. It was a very strange experience. Which I guess they were real in a literal sense. I don't really know what to make of it. Why would a random video teleport me to another dimension? What's the significance of me going there? What's the point? It has no effect on my life besides the constant thinking about it. The real creepy part of this entire incident was that the fuck. The real creepy part of this entire incident was the Instagram posts. The exact order of posting, the exact same pictures and videos I saw in my vision. There is no way my brain can make something like that up so accurately. Even if I did have a dream and somehow opened Instagram in real life and saw those posts, I wouldn't have saw it when I awoke. Once you see a post on Instagram, you won't see it again if you close out of the app or refresh. I saw the same post twice, which is basically impossible. Of course, the Instagram posts are not definitive proof that I traveled to another dimension, but it was something. I don't know what else it could be. I have no health problems, I don't do drugs. Nothing was wrong with me at that moment. My mental state is fine. I'm not insane or schizophrenic. I don't know what happened. Not many strange things have happened in my life, but when they do, they're bad. Some strange things do happen, but those are stories for other times. I'll ask for answers, or maybe someone to present another theory, possibly a more believable one to tell my friends and family. I'm a skeptic for all those things paranormal or alien, but this, I just can't explain it. You can't know how it felt unless it was you in my shoes. No one can. I don't really follow a lot of people on Instagram, but I feel like it's definitely a strong possibility to see a post twice. And I've opened up my Instagram and seen the same post a trillion fucking times in one day, to the point where it's annoying, and I wish I followed more people just to have more content. Alec Vega with the 5 says, hate those dreams when you're falling and then you wake up, you're fine. I know, that's scary. Oh, Antonio Brown is going to fight Logan Paul. I was asking who you got to win. What the fuck? Why is he fighting Logan Paul? That sounds terrible, like a terrible idea. Your video just randomly went back to when you asked about Mr. Beast. Huh, that's funny. Everyone is a skeptic till you truly see the truth. Megan says, when I do dream, it's mostly nightmares, like those terrifying ones where you think you're awake and it's always stupid as hell when I wake up, but so scared I wake up shaking and can't go back to sleep. Yeesh. Oh, hi, Holly. What's poppin'? What's poppin'? Kaylee, huge fan from the UK. Nice. We got a lot of UK people in here, which is cool. Guys, when I get on Instagram, I go to another dimension. Bra Bras. Do you remember that time Dr. Derry ate those gummies and the Emoji Movie was hell? Yeah, Dr. Derry went to another dimension, I'll tell you. I'll tell you what. She had too much CBD. My dad and myself used to be close, but we became distant after he left me at about the age of 6 at Anasta. 2 years later, on my 8th birthday, the police, well, who we thought were police, showed up at my party and told us that my dad had ended his life. I was sad, and I grieved, but life moves on and so did I. Not saying I didn't miss him, because of course I did, but I had to stay strong. Anyway, I was around the age of 10 or 11 when this happened, and I was always on my PlayStation with my noise-canceling headphones. If not, on my phone with headphones on, and bear in mind my chair was parallel to my window, which always had blinds on. Also, someone had been writing stuff, terrible names on our car windows, and I told my mom that I knew it was his handwriting, but she ignored it and said I was just being paranoid. When that wasn't enough, he scratched the car and made little dents by kicking it. Now, we ended up getting a new car after a hit and run happened, and the same happened to that car, so obviously this person was watching because we asked all of our neighbors, but their cars were fine. This day I was on my PlayStation, but I went downstairs to get food or something, and when I came back up, before putting my headphones on, I peeped through the window. I'm quite usually a paranoid person, and saw my dad walking up and down staring at my house with his hands halfway in his pockets. That's how I knew it was him, and that's how he walked, and it looks just like him. This couldn't have just been a coincidence because he lived 120 miles away and knew no one in that area. I immediately ran downstairs and said to my mom, Mom, he's outside, he's out there." My mom looked through the dining room window to see him staring at the bedroom window, pacing up and down. My mom called my brother and he called my sister before opening up the door, made sure I was out of sight, and shouted my dad's name and asked him what he thinks he was doing. He continued across the street and walked down a road where he was still visible from my window. Then my brother, sister, and brother-in-law arrived, and they all went out. My sister and my mom in a car and my brothers by foot. They didn't find him even after searching for a good 3 to 4 hours. Everything kind of went back to normal until I saw this woman pacing up and down staring at my house. I didn't mention this to my mom for good reason, for some reason. My mom had asked me to go to the shop, so I looked out the window and the woman was gone. I thought this was the end of that, but when I left my house, she instantly appeared, and this happened time and time after, where she would just appear, have this creepy smile, something out of a horror movie. One day I had left the house at around 10 a.m. and got back at around 6 to 7 p.m. She was there when I left, so I left a camera recording on my bedroom window, which showed that she had been there all day. She even sat outside my door and tried to unlock it. She even knocked on my neighbor's door and said that she was locked out and asked if she could climb over the back fence to get in. Our neighbors know us. She said no, and I started receiving a number of phone calls, and when I picked up, they were just breathing. Since then, not much has happened, but I'll update if anything does. But I think my dad is stalking me, and I'm pretty sure he's paying others to do it too. I was happy that Tyler won a Grammy. I guess so. I don't really give a shit, honestly, like, as bad as that sounds. Like, for some reason, I don't even know why, like, I guess Tyler never really had, like, I mean, really, Grammys to me are just sort of like a pomp and show. They're about as exciting as the Oscars and all of that other nonsensical circle jerks of the awards. I don't know, I feel like Tyler, I like his music, that's all I can really say. But him as a person, he seems kind of like disengaged with the rest of the world or something of that nature. Or like he's no longer interested in it. Of course, he's always been like that. He's always kind of had like that teen angst about him, I suppose. But it's only gotten worse as time has progressed. Can I do some sexy breathing? My chair is squeaky? I'm not sitting in a chair, I'm standing. But my floor is kind of squeaky, maybe. Circle Jorlks. Okay. Here we go. Oh wait, I should lube the lips first. Lubing lips. Engage. Okay. I'm really bad at telling stories, but I'll try to make sense. This happened over 3 weeks ago. I live in downtown LA. I like to shop at Burlington, that's in Broadway Street. Usually I shop in the mornings, but I decided to go in the afternoon, I'd say around maybe 4 p.m. I was there trying on some clothes, and I see a group of guys walking my way, trying on some shoes. Now, I like to smile at people, to shine... Jesus Christ. I hate whenever fucking stories literally just don't put a period. Holy shit, this... Like, it's an entire paragraph is like one sentence. I was there trying on some clothes, and I see a group of guys walking my way trying on some shoes. Now, I like to smile at people, to show kindness before I got their attention. And then I heard the... Oh my god, there's just like a comma, or literally, like... I don't know why grammar annoys me, but it annoys me because I can't fucking just, like, flow with the story. It's like I gotta stop every 10 seconds and fix it for them. Sorry. Shouldn't be that irked about that, but it's so easy to do. Just read over your story once and ask yourself, is this above a 5th grade level? Anyways, I was there trying on some clothes, and I see a group of guys walking my way, trying on shoes. Now, I like to smile at people, to show kindness. Before I got their attention, I heard them speaking in Russian. I'm half Russian, half Mexican, so I understand Russia. Usually people get confused since I'm quite tan and have brown hair and gray eyes. They assume I'm either Middle Eastern or Egyptian. I like to smile at people to show kindness, so I smiled at one of the guys. We'll call him guy number 1. He smiled back. I'm only 18, and I won't lie, I was quite an attractive... Oh my god. I'm only 18, I won't lie, I was quite attractive to the guys. Can I do a sexy farth? You want me to fart into the mic? I want to make my black cat my profile pic for YouTube, but can't figure out how to change it. Oh yeah, I think it's through, it's like your Google profile or something of that nature, like your settings. I don't know if it's like on the Google Plus bullshit or if they completely got rid of that. I'm only 18, and I won't lie, I was quite attractive to the guy who smiled back at me. We kept staring back at each other until they left. I spent some 30 more minutes there before heading out, until the guy number 1 approached me and said, "Hey, how are you?" Me being young and finding this guy attractive, I decided to make conversation with him. Also, he had a thick Russian accent right there at that moment. I decided to tell him I understand Russian and speak Russian, but he spoke over me, and this was out of the conversation. Guy number 1 says, "Hey, I saw you at the store a while ago, and my friends think you're very beautiful, and we just wanted to talk to you." "Oh, hi. Yep, I noticed you three at the store while I was getting ready to try on some clothes. Yeah, well, me and my friends wanted to wait for you to tell you if you wanted to go out for some drinks. Wanna come? I didn't know either to say yes or no, so I said yes since I wanted to keep talking to this guy. I forgot to mention it was very dark outside at this point. There wasn't any much. Alright, now I regret being mean about this person's grammar because I guess they are from Russia, so it makes sense that it's not their first language. Don't tell them that I said what I said. They might feel bad. Trend Let's Queef. Guys, can you hashtag Trend Let's Queef? Get it going? Thank you. I forgot to mention it was very dark outside at this point. There weren't many people out. When we walked to the guy's car, he had a black car with black tinted windows. I looked at the guys. He helped me get into the car, and he sat very close to the two guys in the front. He began speaking Russian to the guy who sat next to me. I pretended not to understand what they were saying and ignored by putting my headphones in, pretending to listen to music when I heard, "What exactly are we going to do to her after we drop her off somewhere?" My body felt as if though my own soul left right away. I didn't understand exactly what he meant by somewhere. Then guy number 3 said, "I think we should do what we really want to do." At this point, I wanted to cry, but I held back my tears until guy number 1 said, "Me and my friends actually feel like going out to eat somewhere far away. I'm sure you're okay with that, yeah?" I quietly responded, I don't think it's a good idea. I think I'd rather just go home." Guy number 1 responds, "You aren't going anywhere. What kind of stupid idiot would get inside a car with 3 guys?" They all started laughing at me. Let's queef, let's queef. They all started laughing at me. I ended up crying and seemed to make sense. The fuck? What? Seemed to make sense. Oh, they all started laughing at me. I ended up crying and seemed to make sense. They all started laughing at me. I ended up crying and seemed to make sense. They drove off, and the guy next to me taking my phone away, throwing it outside the window. What the fuck? I tried kicking the window, but he got on top of me. At that moment, I prayed to stay alive. I thought my life was over. I thought about everyone and a just horrible feeling, making it hard to tell the story. I would like to share it later. I heard sirens behind us. It was the police. Gladly, it was 2 police cars. Guy number 3 gave up and pulled over. What the fuck? Alright. Also known as Mr. Queef. Alright, stop. Zogs, I know I said a trend, let's queef, but I don't want to, I don't want spam in the chat about, queefing. Bequeath. What bequeath thee? Hey, Jensen, there he is. What's up, brah? Brosky? Let's beef. Let's queef. I've created a monster, this is true. They all started laughing at me. I began crying. Jesus fuck, I have no idea. Sorry to be mean. I just literally cannot understand what this sentence is even saying. They all started laughing at me. I ended up crying and seemed to make sense. They drove off. And the guy next to me taking my phone away, throwing it outside. I get what she's trying to say, but it also makes no sense at all how to fix it. God damn it. Do you take chicken or queef on your tacos, guys? What? They all started laughing at me. I ended up crying, and this is the part that doesn't make any sense to me. And seemed to make sense. They drive. What did it seem to make at all? It seemed to make since they drove off, and the guy next to me tried taking my phone away, throwing it outside. This is like one of those scam emails you get. Sending passwording now. Quickly. With Bitcoin. 2 million. Sorry. Oh, it's all good. I'm just being a jerkazoid. It's okay. I'm actually gonna fucking re-type this real quick. Okay. So here I am going. So they all started laughing at me. I ended up crying. They drove off. I'll just get rid of that, whatever the fuck that last part was. Say, they drove off. And the guy next to me took my phone. I'm like semi-worried that this story's not going to explain why the police showed up and like give a logical reason. They drove off and the guy next to me... Wait, God damn it. The guy next to me took my phone. The guy next to me took my phone away. Comma. This is the last paragraph, I swear to God. Throwing it outside the window. I tried kicking the windows, but he got on top of me. At that moment, I prayed to stay alive. I thought my life was over. I thought about everyone I loved. It was just a horrible feeling. Makes it hard to tell the story, but... Makes it hard. Later, I heard sirens behind us. It was police. It was policia. Gladly, it was 2 police cars. Guy number 3 gave up and pulled over. He was told to get out of the car, and if anyone else was in there, to come out. They saw me. I ran to the cops. Alright, sweet. They ended up getting arrested. She wrote IDK. They ended up getting arrested. I don't know. Something happened. What happened to them? Oh, I see. IDK, what happened? Well, I don't know what happened to them, but I wouldn't like to know either way. My parents were mad, of course. I did something I was told not to do many times as a child, but thankfully I'm safe and alive. I know it isn't a scary story. Is she gonna do the thing? She doesn't even explain why. She doesn't even explain why the police showed up. They saw me, I ran to the cops, they ended up getting arrested. I don't know what happened. She's like, I don't know what happened to them. I was almost kidnapped, and I don't know what happened to them. Oh, Jesus Christ. My parents were mad, of course. I literally have to, like, write something. I don't fucking know. They saw me. I ran to the cops. It turns out... something... What would be the reasoning that the cops would know? That these are pretty clear plot holes, and I have to fill them in suddenly here. Because I've come this far, I've read the story, and now I just have to, like... You guys are gonna have to use your writing brain noggins. The policia... And the story all crazy. Well, if I could even think of something logical in the way that it ends, like... This story... okay, just think of something here. If anyone else is out there... Wait, what? They saw me. I ran to the cops, ended up getting arrested. Turns out, someone... in relation to... So I'm going to say, it turns out someone from the shoe store had recognized them from before in relation to previous petty theft and followed us to the car, reporting the make and model. Thank God for their previous... Jesus Christ, guys, this is embarrassing. Thank God for their previous track record and the intelligent employee. Otherwise, I may not be alive today. Blah, blah, blah. Look at that. Went from reader to writer in 3 seconds. What do you guys think about that ending? And now I'm an official author. Alright, whatever. We're just going to read it. They all started laughing at me, and I ended up crying. They drove off, and the guy next to me took my phone away, throwing it outside the window. I tried kicking the windows, but he got on top of me. At that moment, I prayed to stay alive. I thought my life was over. I thought about everyone I loved. It was a terrible feeling. It makes it really hard to tell this story. Shortly after, I heard sirens behind us. It was the police. Thank God it was 2 police cars, and guy number 3 started to panic and gave up, pulling over. They were all told to get out of the car, and if anyone else was in there to come out as well. They saw me. With my hands up, I ran to the cops as they ended up getting arrested. Turns out someone from the store had recognized them from before in relation to previous petty theft and followed us to the car, reporting the make and model. Thank God for their previous track record and the intelligent employee. Otherwise, I may not be alive today. Asherella says, turns out the cops were in on it with the kidnappers, knowing I'm writing the story from a cell phone. I'm stuck in my cage. Hence all the bad grammar in writing. Yeah, she's got to write it pretty fast. She threw the cell phone to my doorstep, and that's where I found it, and I'm reading it now. Hey, Bayday, thank you, thank you. Shifting to my reading voice. I should try writing some of my own stories. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I haven't really written in like a long time. I'm sure, I mean, these stories aren't too complicated, obviously, but like if I wanted to write something, I'd like to write something that I'm actually like creatively, you know, like a creepypasta or like some sort of science fiction or something, but I have not tried my hand at that in quite some time. If I would have kept reading that story, you might not have stayed alive. It is a deadly story. Doth thou hath no queef? Doth haveth thee queefeth? Blesseth upon my nose. Alright, there's a queef for you. To many of you, you may not... Fuck. To many of you, this may not seem horrifying or even close to making a mouse squeak. But when you live through a panic for 2 years from someone who has messed you up physically, mentally, and socially, then you'll know how truly horrifying it is when one simple friendship Then you'll know how truly horrifying it is when one simple friendship can become insane. It was my freshman year of college. This was my year, I thought, to be a part of something meaningful. Blech, I'm getting lazy with my pronunciation. Something meaningful. It's like I'm queefing out of my mouth. It was my freshman year of college. This was my year, I had thought, to be a part of something meaningful. Clubs, sports, newfound friendships. But that's when I ended up having a class with him, Alex, also a freshman. Alex was, in the very beginning, a funny, honest, sweet guy who I found myself drawn to. Not romantically, but friendship-wise, for I was the same. We clicked instantly. Jokes were always made, and I suddenly found myself ditching classes with him, being rude to teachers, even cutting a lot of other friendships. Keep in mind, before I met him, I was never like this, but here's the reason why. Alex, down the line when he got comfortable, began to show his true colors. He'd fill my head up with lies about how my friends didn't like me and how they held secret talks behind my back, how they always left me out of the group and that in all reality I only had him. And that was a giant red flag, but I didn't care. I felt like he was the only one I had. Skip half the first year and he gets a lot worse with being a fake gay, always grabbing me wherever he can and pulling me away from whatever I was busy with. This had left bruises. He also began ridiculing me whenever he could. How old am I? I'm 29 years old. Mouse queef. Making a mouse queef. This may not seem horrifying or even come close to making a mouse queef. Did I say queef or squeak? I'm pretty sure I said squeak, because that's what it says, and I hope to God I didn't say queef. Because that would be bad. Skip half the first year, and he gets a lot worse, with being a fake gay, always grabbing me wherever he can and pulling me away from whatever I was busy with. This had left bruises. He also began ridiculing me whenever he could. Wait, what the fuck did it say? He also began ridiculing me whenever he could. Oh, okay, Jesus. I said queef? Did I actually say queef? Oh, what the fuck? Did I really say queef? Oh my god, you guys got queef in my head. Yeah, I had a brain queef there. Oh, son of a bitch. There's no way I said queef. I swear to God, I wouldn't make it. Oh my god, I don't know why I said queef. I don't care. I'm leaving it in. I'm fucking leaving it in. You guys can be the only ones to know. I don't give a shit. I'm so over these stories, these freaking terrible grammar. Garrett Wiseman with the 5. She found a dead butterfly and it came back to life. The butterfly then turned into 2 cops to save her. Hell yeah, dude. Hell yeah, brother. That's how it should have ended. That's how this one will end. Alright, He also began ridiculing me whenever he could. "You're a bad friend," he'd always say. "You don't care about me but yourself." You don't care, okay. "You don't care about anything but yourself. Cry like the baby you are. You mean nothing to no one." And after his vent, he'd crawl back apologizing, and stupid me would accept him. But my breaking point was when he gave me a class visit. Bear with me. Here's the layout of my old school. Bear with me. Here's the layout of my old school. There's 3 wings. I was in the far right and he was in the far left. I had suddenly received a text and it had all gone like this. "Look, Alex, I think we really need to spend a day for myself." "Why? I thought you were my friend. Am I annoying?" "No, I just need to get some space, please. Look up." And when I did, he walked into my class, and it hit me. How he could get from one wing to the other in 5 minutes tops beats me, but that's when I had to break the ties. I cried and began developing a fear of Alex. I had learned his classes and which ways he'd take to avoid him. I'd run to class even if there was no hurry, and even though I thought it all stopped, He always found ways to contact me, through his friends, through applications, anything. It's been years since all of that had happened, but my mom still sees me around, and I hope I never run into him again. Alex, you put a strain on my health. I've lost close-knit friends. Fuck. Okay. Alex, you put a strain on my health. I've lost What the fuck is that? What? I've lost close, tight-knit bonds. Oh my god. Alex, you put a strain on my heart. I've lost close, tight-knit bonds, and what did it cost? May the next poor soul, Jesus Christ. May the next poor soul who has to deal with you do a better job than I did. Close tits friends. Oh man, those last ones were toughies. Toofies. Now I shall read. How's my cat? My cat is fantastic. He sleeps 23 hours a day. He's up for that 1 hour, 3 a.m. to do his zoomies, sprinting up and down the hall, smashing into things. Other than that, honestly, it's kind of weird to think that cats literally exist in a dream world more than they do in reality. Do the roar. Roar. Roar, roar. All right. Doing the roar. Huh. Guys, what should I say here at the end? Please, nothing about queefs. Hey friends, thanks for listening. Be sure to subscribe and click that notification bell to be alerted of all future narrations. If you got a story, be sure to submit them to my subreddit, r/Let'sReadOfficial, and give and receive feedback from the community, and maybe even hear your story featured on the next video. And join my Discord to interact with me and other listeners directly. And if you want to support me even more, grab early access to all future narrations for just $1 a month on Patreon, and maybe even pick up some Let's Read merch on Spreadshirt. And check out the Let's Read podcast, where you can hear all these stories in long compilation form and save huge on data, located anywhere you listen to podcasts. Links in the bio. Thanks so much, friends, and remember, you have 9 cats and 2 dogs. Holy shit. Always remember, check your grammar. Check your grammar before submitting a story, or I will literally come to your house. Remember to keep your hands off your wieners. And that's something I can't in a wholehearted heart tell people to not do. I think it keeps people from doing crazy stuff. Do the check your grammar one? Alright, we'll just do that one. I just don't want to come off like too pretentious, like, oh, you sent in stories for me to put on my YouTube channel. Can't you just check your grammar? Like, I mean, it is annoying. I guess it's not that much to ask people to check grammar, but I do really appreciate you guys sending in stories. I mean, you guys literally, this is a community ran YouTube channel when you think about it. Like I would not exist if not for you guys supporting me and sending in stories. So I really, really do appreciate it. You keep me alive. You keep food in my belly. In my belly. Mary Golden Muse, sorry to bust the bubble that the stream is coming to an end here. I live on a farm. I don't live on a farm. I do have chickens, though. Believe that. Not on a farm, but I have chickens. Weird story. Weird world we live in. But yeah, we'll just do the grammar. Thanks so much, friends. And remember, always check your grammar. Oh, you know, it'd be funny if I did the lion voice after the grammar part. Alright, fuck it, we'll do that. Thanks so much, friends. And remember, always Check your grammar. Boom. So people are going to be sleeping and they're going to fucking think that there's a goddamn lion in their room. Like, what the fuck was that, dude? Was that in the fucking stories? Was that in Let's Read's video? There's no way. It sounded like a real African lion outside of my room. Is it in my bed? Under my bed? Is that the boogeyman? Is boogeyman here? Ooh, boogeyman. I love that meme where it's like, what is it? It's like, don't stick your toes over the bed or the boogeyman will eat your feet. And then and it cuts to the next panel and like the person's got their like bare ass hanging over the edge of the bed. Classic memes. I wonder if it would be possible, like, if somehow in some magical world, the top 100 memes of all time, well, not all time, say the past 20 years, well, not even 20 years, past 10 years maybe, or even less than that, were compiled based on people's, like, sharing or something of that nature. It wasn't a very good roar. What the hell? That sounded like pretty much like you were watching Discovery Channel to me, but whatever. I'm going, and if you make any grammatical errors, I am coming to your house, which perhaps some of you might actually enjoy, so that could be. But it won't be pleasant. It won't be pleasant. It'll be like the boogeyman. Asia Neva. Hey, what's up? You guys are catching me on the tail end of the stream, but guys, if you didn't hear it at the end, new videos every Monday, Wednesday, Friday. I can't always guarantee I'll stream every week, but I try to get at least one stream in a week, usually the night before videos are done. So if videos come out Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, I will try to do a stream usually closer to like between 8 and 9 on Sunday, Tuesday, Thursday, if that makes sense. And be sure to, get the notifications on so you know when that's going to happen, and follow me on social media, Twitter, or Instagram. Twitter is Let's Read Creepy. Instagram is Let's Read.official. I wish I had the same name for all of them so it was just easy across all the social media boards, but unfortunately that's not how the cookie crumbles. And join our Discord. Lots of good people in the Discord who make it fun. I think I'll be in there tonight just editing audio and video. I'm not quite as talkative as I am in there as I am right now, just because I'm usually working on something or mind-numbingly playing a video game. But I do enjoy having fun conversations with everyone. I can honestly say everybody in there is a good friend of mine. So if you guys also would like to become a good friend, you know what to do. Make America queef again. Yes. That's going to be a huge campaign strategy of my own when I eventually become presidente. But I love you guys. Join in the Discord, all that good stuff. Audio is going to be out early on Patreon. And, loves ya. Bye-bye.